every Thursday. The scene is set in the realm of thoughts where minds are met. They're the thinkers with brains on the brink. Every Thursday they're doing a thing with that dark critic as the fearless lead. That fought through by her side, they plant the seed with Dorcas guiding through dungeons deep, and Grey Coupe spreads it on steep. Nemo's crush ghosts like magic in the air. Depressed Hydra's expertise beyond compare. Charles manages the box office with grace, while other guests add to the lively space. In a world of thoughts where minds collide, the thinkers gather their wits as their guide. From deep contemplation to laughter's embrace, every Thursday is their special place.
It's our special place.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. There's a face reveal that we need to get to. So let me quickly do that. That's what we'll start with.
Can you put you in my spot, please? I feel weird. I feel like I'm in control of everything being here. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Solo layout for you, Bimo.
Oh boy, I'm so nervous.
Woo.
Hello.
It's a me.
Put some clothes on.
God.
No,
Yeah,
I'm good.
We're in a
How
onesie,
cute is he?
like a romper.
It's a me. I've had a lot of coffee. I am also related to Chihuahuas.
My mouth is always open.
My mouth is always open because I'm very hungry.
Is this Ray Skywalker?
Yes, 100%. I'm Ray Skywalker.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your face with us, Bimo. I really, I feel
Happy
honored.
to.
And look who else is sharing their face. Great, yay! Thank you. Camera should
Wait a
be-
minute. I
Sorry.
didn't realize it had been quite so long since I wasn't a jar, but sorry. I'm sure this is also
You're left
yours.
ajar already.
Yeah, I know. Good
Your
time.
mouth is a
The
jar.
door is ajar.
My mouth definitely is a jar.
Everybody, good with the puns. Well done, guys. Well, how's everybody doing? How's the week been? We have some fun people in chat. Listen, it's the first 5 minutes. I'll greet you properly in a while. There. Yeah. How's everyone doing? I mean, Bimo's done very well. He's caffeinated. I am too.
Incredibly.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 5 cups of coffee.
Well, what I'd made the panel do this week is watch Adolescence. Had anyone watched it without my insistence?
I
Nope.
would not have watched it without the show.
Nope.
I
on
heard the
Netflix.
controversy, but I
Mhm.
thought it had died down because it was out, what, like a month ago or something like that?
Yeah, I also thought so.
So why did you suggest that we watch this?
It was because of that video. There was a video Amala did, and there was also Matt Walsh reacting to it. So a lot of people were talking about it. Sargon as well was talking about it because it seemed like it died down for us, I think, but in the UK it continued. It followed me around. In terms of in the UK, I mean, like I follow some UK creators, and it followed me around.
Ew.
They were just adolescents thumbnails everywhere. So I was like, this is still topical. Why? First of all,
Charles,
let's
how come
talk
you didn't
about
know about this?
Because
Come on,
I'm
you're in the
responsible
UK.
for all of it.
Oh, fair enough.
I am the guilty subject here.
You did it.
So you stabbed the girl 7 times?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the video doesn't.
least.
Don't believe what you see.
I was about to say, it took like, what, 40 years off you?
3,
my
yeah.
80 years?
So I actually,
40?
why did I
Don't be
watch it?
mean,
I watched it.
Demo.
I watched it when it had just come out. It was like everybody was talking about it. So, another true crime episode. Yeah, we have
Not
the actual
exactly true.
perpetrator on.
Ripped from the headlines.
I wouldn't call this true crime.
Yeah, it's crime.
Fan
Truly,
fiction
it's a crime.
crime.
No, I think that there's definitely cases like this, just from a true crime perspective, where a kid has lost his shit and he goes and kills someone.
I think it rhymes with a bunch of things. there's not really any one particular thing that you could say, yeah, this is definitely what this is about. There's a bunch of little, there's a bunch of seasoning in this series where it's just like, oh yeah, that reminds me of that. That's definitely that. And as someone who's played chicken with a kid on a bike here in the UK, they're a little shitty. So it tracks
Just a little.
I wonder if I can understand that slang, but okay.
Like there have been lots of murders that are the result of a rich couple being caught off guard in an untimely place. But that doesn't mean
That's
that
how Batman was
based
born.
off of anything. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's a good comparison.
It was, coming from bullying, the thing that I thought of as far as high profile was the trans girl that got killed by two of her classmates. And that was kind of a big deal 2 winters ago. And I was like, okay, so they've taken liberties with certain aspects, but it turns out, no, kids are just shitty. And this is just run-of-the-mill adolescent
Believe
in the UK.
From what I heard, it was based on 2 different stabbings, but not
See?
that one in particular.
They just love
that
their
also
knives here.
involved kids.
They
Yeah.
do. They really do.
And acid.
You know what they say? When all you have is a hammer? I don't know.
Jacket?
I mean,
Hey, Fishy.
yeah.
Oh, hey, Cinder's fish.
Well, yeah, basically the structure of the show today, guys, we're going to talk about adolescence, right? If you look at the thumbnail, you'll see it does say objective criticism, though. Gray, what are we? The second half of the show, we're going to use adolescence as a springboard for this discussion.
Sure.
But can you tell us a little bit about what you mean by objective criticism? We'll get to it later, but just that's the thing we'll cover as well.
Subjectively speaking.
Yeah, in my opinion, objective. So I've heard a bunch of different kind of opinions on what objective criticism is, and I wonder if there is such a thing. Like anytime you're talking about art, it feels like it's inherently subjective to me, but I could be wrong. So I wanted everyone to think about that.
The truck is blue.
I'm just saying, the sky is blue and it reflects on the truck and I'm seeing the color blue. That was planned, perhaps, or I'm subjectively interpreting it. It's hard to understand that. But this could be an awesome springboard to kind of look at it, because there's been some really interesting criticism and kind of opinions on what this is about. And I don't know if they're necessarily right. I know all the controversy that I heard of it after watching this thing, it's not what I thought it was going to be. I'll put it that way.
Well, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
From a certain point of view. Fair enough.
The objective criticism conversation is something that I definitely really want to put a thumbtack in. I know we have a lot to talk about, but I think there might be a misunderstanding of what is meant by that term between those that agree with it and those that don't.
Okay. Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Just keep that in mind as we go through the adolescence discussion, because then we bring it in later on.
Of course.
So that's why I wanted to talk about. Just keep in mind objective criticism when we're talking about our first topic. They're not separate topics.
And doodly doodly, neighbor.
Hi, diddly doodly. So, has every basically, if you haven't watched Adolescence, you hate women, but also it was
not exclusively. I mean, you can still hate women and have seen it.
Yes.
I mean, I did hate women until about 4 hours ago, but then I covered my bases by watching.
Is that episode 4?
See, you've been transferred. Oh no, he hasn't.
My sins.
He's only gone to episode 2, so he's okay with women. Not even. He just dislikes them.
I tolerate them.
Yeah.
I just need to defend my station as an adolescent. Okay, I'm the closest to an adolescent than any of you, so of course I only watched 2 episodes. You told me to watch 4.
Yeah, well, my mom.
You're not my real dad.
To quote a kid from the show, "Shut up, miss." I just think it's weirdly polite.
I learned that
Oh,
there was
God.
another N word that's a curse in the UK that
Oh yes,
I
the
needed
one
to look
that's
up what
sprayed
that
on.
word was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you weren't
I thought
familiar
that
with
that was
No.
just a. I thought that was
It's not
just
my
a.
nickname, so I didn't really.
Are you
Okay,
sure?
so we're talking
I wasn't
about the
implying
word.
that.
We're talking about the word nonce,
Mhm.
and
With an
I
S and not a
didn't.
C.
Yes, with an S and not a C if you spell it wrong. I honestly, it's like about a year ago that I found out that actually that's what it means. I thought it was just another word for idiot.
So did I.
No.
I
I
was
also
told
thought
that
it
it
was.
was like for pedophiles.
Like,
Yeah.
see, yeah.
That's the one I
Wait,
thought.
See, I
that's
thought it was
all
like,
I've known it
you
as.
silly numpty. Like, oh,
Yes, it reminded me of
No.
numpty. Yeah, so that's what I thought.
How
like
long have you lived
nonsense.
in the
Like,
UK there, Charles?
I'm sorry.
How long have you lived in the UK there?
I've been here a combined year,
Okay, for sure. Perfect.
but I don't
Makes
pay attention when
perfect
they talk. So
So he's an expert.
He's like, I don't listen to them filthy locals.
It doesn't mean something beyond PDF files, but we both were under the impression it meant something less, as in just an idiot, not like egregious crime. We were just like, oh,
yeah,
oopsie. Yeah. So I'm glad I knew the meaning of that before the show, but yeah, the show is it's been called a film in certain clips, but it's a 4-part
A
series.
documentary and other ones too.
Yes, in some things. That's why its reception was wow, and it was the top of Netflix. It actually beat Stranger Things season something whatever in its first 17 days. So it was a very popular show.
third highest watched ever.
Damn.
Ever
yeah.
on Netflix.
Ever.
Damn.
Yes.
Wow.
Let's make
And
sure
now
that doesn't happen again.
Baby reindeer can suck it.
Well, that's true.
What do
it
you
did.
got, Ray?
I enjoyed the reindeer more. I think it was more of a cultural phenomenon for longer, but fair
I
enough.
agree.
This burned brighter. Fair enough. This isn't going to spiral out into a lawsuit, I don't think. But
Give it
Mm.
time. What?
Hi, Common. That's how Common enters a chat. Baby reindeer
Why can't I
was
see him?
intense. Hey?
indeed.
Oh,
Master
never mind.
Casalius, what's up?
Hello, Master Casalius.
Stream hopping.
Mm. So basically, one of the reasons that I was told to watch this was actually a technical reason, not a thematic reason. So keep that in mind for objective criticism. They one of the things was, you must watch it. It's all one shot. Each episode is
that's
one
why,
shot.
why I was told.
That's
yeah.
why you must watch it. That was the first thing I heard about it. Then it was, and this was from my friends. So they were like, yeah, it's cool technically, right? They didn't really talk about the themes and whatever, but they're new parents. They have a son, so they did mention it. Oh, it's an interesting thing for parents to watch, and that was about it. And then I went and watched it, and then obviously you have that recognition once you've watched it. You start seeing all the tweets about it and all of that. And basically it became then this very important thing to watch, especially in the UK, where literally they're now putting it in schools for the children to watch. It's like an educational text for them.
How is that educational? Like what?
It's to start a conversation. So like, did you have, you guys, well, we called it life orientation or guidance. That was a class that we had. Did you
I
have
did
life
not have that
skills?
class, no.
I had a sewing class once. Is that life skills? I don't know. Like we had a guidance counselor, but I don't know. Everyone just made fun of that guy. Like I don't think I don't know. Maybe you guys had a different experience. I don't feel like I had a life skills class. That would have been awesome. They teach you to like pay taxes and shit. That would be awesome. I don't know those skills.
Basically, they taught you how not to get AIDS. That's basically what it was.
Sex ed.
Oh, yeah. I guess we had that.
Not
Like,
just
there was
sex ed.
Something that
Well,
they kind
I think that same teacher taught us how to smoke a cigarette or something.
a cool teacher.
Face.
Say it. Never mind.
I've got it. Like you said,
Speak
they're
with your
showing
lungs,
this-
Dorcas.
We're discussing a UK show, so cigarette.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, darts, right? Totally. Totally.
Yeah,
darts.
darts.
Yeah, squares.
Yeah.
All them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Don't look
you
up,
said that
don't
they
look
were
up what
playing
their
this in
meatballs are called
schools.
either.
You said
Yes,
that they were
yes,
showing this
Valentin.
you said they were showing this in schools for educational purposes.
Mhm.
Weird.
Given I'm only halfway through the series, right? From those who finished it, would it be I guess a reasonable take to say that there is a political intent behind the show?
I don't think so. I can understand why you'd kind of think so, only from the first 2 episodes. But the next one
I'm
is...
open-minded. I have not made a decision on this at all. I'm not presuming anything. I haven't finished the show, right?
Like,
I'm just asking
I would...
from somebody who has finished the show, is that reasonable? Because I don't know.
So the only kind of weirdly political, topical issues as to why this might have occurred happen in episode 2. Everything else, they're looking at it from a few different points of view. Like Charles was kind of saying, there's a bunch of different spice like thrown into this. It doesn't seem like they're just going with what they went with episode 2. Because like episode 2, they happen to mention Andrew Tate and they happen to mention the manosphere. It is not... They don't really mention that again.
So they sort of bring it up in episode 3, but the kid more or less says that he like doesn't really buy into all that stuff except for like one specific thing.
He doesn't buy
And it
into.
seemed like it was
He doesn't
the
buy.
girl who was mainly using it against him.
Say that again.
And it was mainly the girl who was using that against him, which is
Yeah, but she's
weird
flat,
because
so
she was bullying him.
I
It's
took that
interesting, but
personally.
it doesn't. They don't lean into that any harder than they did in 2. 2 is the one that leans into that the hardest.
That slaps you in the face with it. But I think it only feels like a slap because it's so obvious, I suppose. It really is.
Well,
'Cause
and I
that
think
incel
it's-
Andrew Tate shit.
I think it's only reasonable
Yeah.
though, like when you get to that point in episode 2 of a 4-episode series, that you note that that's what's happening and see where it goes to before you make a decision on it, and that's where I'm at. So I didn't want to make any assumptions about it, but if there was some sort of political leaning to why it was being made, it would make it instantly uncomfortable that we're using this as educational material for children in public education.
that's
I
like
mean, it doesn't make it any better. Sorry, Charles. You haven't spoken as much as me. Please go right on, sir.
I was just going to say the problem that they kind of highlighted in the first episode, maybe not the first 2, is that at schools they're kind of absent-minded. Like the teacher that shows up late is a bit of a fucking
Yes,
And the
that
kids
part
defend him.
pissed me off.
And my wife told me that she's had times where they've just watched a movie in class, and it's just like, how about
Dude,
learning?
that was my
things?
history class. I'm not kidding. Like they just would play tapes that he recorded like the day before from the History Channel. Like it
And
was
they pay
Whoa.
weird.
attention to
Brothers in
that
history.
detail. Yeah.
That's awesome.
You're supposed to get a film maybe once in a term. A
I mean, I
semester.
learned a lot about World War II. That
I
was
don't
kind of
know
cool.
if fiction
but
is the way to
still.
go about like learning. Objectively speaking, fiction
That's-
probably isn't the best way to.
Well,
learn
I
things.
think
it was ripped from
There-
the headlines.
I
It
agree.
was
Alright.
based on 2 different stabbings.
okay. Could you tell us about that, Gray?
The actual story in this.
Put on the
Yeah,
spot,
because
whatever.
you've watched
Yeah.
the back behind the scenes.
Just a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what up, dildo? So,
Nobody's dad's in chat, right? Right.
I mean, who knows? But yeah. So it's not exactly like a whodunit or anything like that. It's
Mhm.
kind of a why'd they do it, and I guess that's the question that they're trying to answer. And it seems like they have some accusations that come out in different episodes, but they still don't come to like a 100% conclusion or anything like that. So it's kind of an interesting thing. But So Stephen Graham, who you'd probably recognize from a million things. I think like the first thing I saw him in was like Snatch. He plays Tommy in that one, kind of the
Oh
sidekick.
yes,
but,
yeah, that's where I recognize
he's-
from. Yeah.
he's the father in this one, and he co-wrote this with Jack Thorne. I guess they created this thing, and he just kind of came up with. He saw a certain stabbing in the news, and then he decided that he wanted to make a show about essentially kids and what could cause the youth to do something like this. And it's kind of an interesting tale. He wove in a bunch of other things that he saw, like, for instance, like internet and cell phone usage. I don't know that it's all necessarily as effective as it could be, but when you mix that story that they're telling with these certain like filmmaking techniques, again, each episode is one take. There's ways that you could cheat it, but apparently they did not. They spent like a week actually rehearsing each episode, then another week blocking it out and learning the choreography exactly where they would need to be and who they would need to hand the camera off to. Like to go upstairs in these certain locations, it would take like 3 different people handing it off, and they'd have to do that movement smoothly. So I think the 4th episode happens to be like the 14th take of that particular thing, but they're doing it like start to finish. So it's like an hour play each time. It's kind of interesting. It's very gimmicky, and it feels very much like, so everything is a one shot, but it feels very much like television blocking, if you will. Like you just start following one person, and then the second that they're done saying their line, you start following somebody else a different direction. You weave through locations, but at the same time, it's very well staged, so it's kind of like a stage play. I think a few of us were saying that it was kind of jarring, or at least it took a while to get used to, and then it seemed like it kind of got old, this gimmick of everything being a one shot. It didn't. Usually when you see like a one shot in a movie, there's kind of like a purpose behind it or something, but this just seemed to keep going, but it does add a certain feel to it. I think, Dorcas, you were talking about that. Did you feel a certain way from the way that this is filmed or whatever?
Not just how it was filmed, but the subject matter and the performance and everything just sort of lent to a very uncomfortable experience. It's not easy to watch, I think. It's engaging, but I didn't find it easy to watch.
Yeah, I think that's what it wants to do, right? Wants to
I
make
think
it.
so.
And I do think the one take thing contributed to that as well.
Especially kind of the later episodes. For some reason, that seemed way more effective than the first 2 for me. The first 2,
Really?
because you're in kind of a tight space, it came off very much like TV blocking to me, like kind of sitcom blocking. But man,
wasn't it in episode 2 that they do the leap out the window, and like that was seamless?
Yes.
And it was
they try and do that like in every one of them. Like there's one where the camera literally like just takes off, like just starts floating away. That was done manually, which is interesting.
But I mean,
yes,
the one shot thing for me is something that I've found to be particularly engrossing on a lizard brain level. It is keeping me in that focus state,
Locked in.
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
But at the same time, the other parts of my brain are noticing how they're piecing it together to even make the one shot system work, to the point where I'm realizing that this character that was previously here has gone off and has been off screen just long enough for the scene to happen. And now they're back to be the transition into us moving somewhere else with the camera. And even though it's creating an effect that makes me interested, my thinking brain is still being like, oh, I see what you did there. Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, I see what you did there.
A couple points I felt like that, yeah.
Over and
So
over.
that's where I think it's it can get distracting. Yeah.
It did feel like at certain times it was. To me, like the 3rd episode is the least distracting. It feels the most natural. Like you're kind of following one character for the most part, but man, yeah, the first 2 are a little The first one especially, I guess it's in the police station. It feels a little claustrophobic and a little too planned, where you just go from like one room to the other. But it's little nitpicky things. It didn't take me out completely. There was the certain tension that the one shot does add to everything.
There was one shot that really was like, oh, this is why we're doing this. It was when they just transitioned off of the police officers, all right, to a blonde guy with glasses and a man bun with a lanyard that is the LGBTQ plus flag, and they just sit on his back until he slowly opens the door. I'm like, interesting. I just thought it was funny. Like, he has absolutely nothing to do with anything. It's just how you get in the room. That's it. That's the only reason why he was there.
The thing that I wanted to say about episode 1, actually, for me, I think episode 1 was where it was most. Maybe it's because it was new to me, that I was most aware of it. Episode 1 was the most impactful with the one shot thing. Yeah, because of when we had him getting strip searched and things like that. It was the stuff that made me feel really uncomfortable and bad for this kid. And then I'm like, and then still I had the conversation with Gordon where I was like, yeah, but they're doing this. They must have quite a lot of proof for them to go this hard on this kid. And in show, the reason that they do this whole examination is because they must think that the father must be doing something wrong to this kid, for him to have done something like this, for him to lash out. He must be abused, because there was another case that they thought that they discuss, they bring up in the show, that the dad was doing something to the kid, and that's why he acted this way.
I didn't make the connection between those two scenes.
Building on that, though, an important question: did Gordon know going in that the kid did the thing? Because I knew going in that the kid did the thing, and I'm very curious what it would be like to watch it without that bit of knowledge.
We both didn't actually know exactly that we knew it was about a stabbing, and at some point, then eventually we know. We were coming up with theories of what are they trying to, because of first episode, a lot of the stuff is making you feel uncomfortable for this kid, right? You're like, oh, is this the kind of making of a murderer kind of thing, where it's like, look how horribly they treat this kid and he's actually innocent kind of thing.
I actually thought it was a whodunit thing because of the way they highlighted the teacher being late and kind of absent-minded, and then I'm sorry.
Yeah, like there was you had those little points where you were like, remember that, like that might be a fact later on. So that's what what brought to the fore, I suppose, Dorcas, for us as not knowing or wondering about it. If there's a twist that, oh no, it was his friend or something like that. That was what is added by that lack of knowledge. Because when I watched it, it was a little bit earlier. I hadn't watched people's coverage of it, and the only thing my friends really said was it was good and here are the themes. It wasn't like, they didn't tell us anything factual about it, except for the technical thing that it was one shot.
Thumbtack in that, but also I do think that I want to give the show some credit. I walked into it knowing that essentially the kid was guilty, but they put a lot of legwork into building empathy, not just for the family of the kid, but also the kid himself. It did not pull punches away from making you be able to sympathize for what this family is going through in all their forms. But then at the end of doing all of that, they then dropped the hammer of what is essentially concrete evidence of CCTV video footage of the actual stabbing. And I really appreciate that, even though, like, obviously they knew that this is where it was going. This was a plot point. This is something that they were using to have dramatic effect. they still didn't pull punches away from the reality of the situation that family would be going through.
Well, that brings up one other thing about this reception of the show, right? So we got the technical, yay, amazing thing. And then we also got praise for it because it shines a light on the incel culture or whatever. And we'll discuss what themes happen, how that theme is part of we'll just thumbtack that. But the other thing that people said is this did not focus on the victim of the crime enough. It actually vilifies her a little bit because she bullied him, and we don't get her perspective.
But it's
discuss.
It's not I don't know. It's not an examination of the victim, though. It's not a whodunit either. It's a why'd he do it. Like, you're supposed to know that this guy did it, and it's supposed to be an examination of what would bring him to that, and then it's kind of an exploration of it. Kind of. It's an event study, I guess, but yeah, fair enough.
I think on that topic, I think schools don't know how to handle bullying, and I feel like it should go without saying, don't kill people. But very frequently I find that students are bullied, and then those students lash out, and then those students get in trouble instead of the bullies. And it's particularly highlighted, like that one teacher didn't even know that the kid was being bullied.
Right.
So
I care.
Yeah. So whether intentionally or not on the show's part, I think it addressed that reasonably well. I've floundered. Someone else.
I do want to point out that although Dorcas did say, murder and bad, it seems like a very basic statement. But we are in a day and age where Luigi Mangione is one of the most simped after people online. So maybe it's important to say
woman, am I right?
Men do it too. But just saying.
Definitely. Point being, I have sympathy for bullied kids who are in these institutions that don't know how to help them.
Yeah, you're right, Dorcas. They do present important questions, but they don't really go to the length of covering what some of the answers to some of those questions could be. Like, it's like, oh, here's a thing that exists, and this is how people deal with this situation if they were in this situation, but nothing really like distinct that like you could say, yeah, society experiences this, and what happened in this show would be a nice step in the right direction that we can go. And it doesn't really jump directly into the pool. It kind of rides on the fence for a lot of topics where it's just like, yeah, we know this is a problem, but
it's like you do the rest of the discussion. Yeah. It's like, here's the problem.
And I think that comes close to touching on a bit of what Sargon said in his video about the whole thing, which is that these schools are generally more geared toward teaching young girls than they are young boys specifically. And the whole thing about that third episode is that that's not what she's doing, isn't how you communicate with young boys and learn about them and teach them and so on.
I don't think she was trying to teach him, though. Like, she was literally
not teach him, but I'm
They're
speaking
doing a
writ
psychological
large.
evaluation on him, though.
Right, but I'm talking about institutions writ large, because
hello,
and it's using that. I think that someone else speak. It's gone.
I totally agree with you. Like, if it was like, so all of his teachers sucked. Like, we weren't shown one teacher that really was amazing. Like, even the one that seemed to like care, that was talking to both of the detectives, she seemed even more clueless than the detectives. Like when they mentioned like what these emojis mean, it's like, what? Really? And then she wasn't familiar with like who Andrew Tate is, if I remember correctly. So I don't know. Even the ones that seemed to care they were clueless. So I agree with you. Like everyone as far as that part of the institution, they totally failed them. But I don't know, the lady. So episode 3 happens to be kind of a psychological evaluation on the main actor, Owen. Can't remember the kid's name,
Cooper?
but man, he's an awesome kid actor. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did really well.
He did awesome. He played Jamie Miller, and man, that entire performance. I guess that was his. So they filmed episode 3 first, and they're like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if this kid's gonna work, and they just made him do this performance. And the fact that it's all one take, I guess they make a big thing in the behind the scenes that like, yes, we could have pieced takes together, but we didn't want to do that. We wanted it to be live. So I'm believing them that all of these are one shots. Supposedly, again, like the 4th episode, they had to shoot 14 times to get that take. So I don't know. That seems ridiculous to me.
What do you think of what Skitten said over here? That's at some point CGI was used?
There's a video by Corridor Digital that's breaking it down, but I didn't get to see it before this showed. They're really good guys that they break these things down. This is what is interesting to them. So yeah, that might be where they're getting their.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure, but they are saying that they're all one take. So I don't know. But the one part that I would kind of disagree with what Dorcas was saying is like I just think that the psychologist who's there to kind of make sure that you are fit for trial and to make sure what is going on, essentially, like this isn't for the defense. It seemed like it was from the prosecution's idea. So she's trying to get an evaluation of him. I don't know that she's necessarily trying to teach him or like nurture him. It is literally trying to test him, trying to see like, okay, is he psycho? Like what could have caused this? Is he a danger to himself or others in here? He is 13, and I think they were trying him as an adult. So,
yeah.
But is that not? Does that not fall under the category of counseling and the system of in which like schools will assign students counselors and so on?
I don't think it was the schools.
If you disagree, that's fine.
The police. I don't think it was the schools that set that up. I thought it was the
parents. So the parents hired the person as an objective, independent investigation. I think she had said.
Yeah, to see that it matches with the one that the police have, because there's one that they're going to compare the test to or whatever. So from what I understand, like she would still have to kind of
thanks, Galente.
But you're right. This one is supposed to be an independent one, but there already was one done from the prosecution side. So I think you'd still want to kind of test him, see, what their evaluation could be. I don't know that you're looking to like coddle the kid, but I understand what you mean. This wouldn't be positive for him.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to address like a literary device or whatever it is that you want to call it, more so than the literal of it, but I'm doing a terrible job of it. So sorry.
Okay, let's talk about the theme of the incels and the manosphere, how that manifests itself in the show. In the first 2 episodes, so we know that Bimo and Galente are with us, and then suppose we can talk about it.
We watched 2 episodes, okay, not just one.
Yeah,
but it's by the near the end of the 2nd episode, I was starting to see a sort of trend towards what they were pushing towards. Like the first episode, the police officer specifically said actually what I think you said, Gray. It wasn't what you said, Gray, but you talked about it for a second, which was the victim not being talked about. They talked about the man's going to be remembered for this, and the victim is not going to be remembered at all. And I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, cool, interesting. And then the second episode goes over, and they're talking about.
Charles remembered her
profile pic. Oh,
Hold on. This father had a woman on it, so I don't want it anymore. Okay, Common. We'll take it from you. I'll take it off your hands. Eat some ass, Common.
Speaking of criticisms, that's beautiful.
Clip that. Can we please make that a sound clip?
Eat some ass, Common.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, wait. Is Common a member? Because if he gets level 2 membership, he can get his what's the name? His a custom command. No, he's not.
He's not a member.
Oh, Common says it's his new ringtone.
But on the second episode, they start talking about the manosphere is specifically brought up. All these wonderful things about like what different colored hearts mean, which I had no idea. I need to stop sending people purple hearts. Because apparently that means I'm horny.
like purple. Yeah.
I just like purple.
Well, it depends, like the context in which you're talking to people in. You know, like if we're talking about Zoomers that are raised on the idiosyncrasies of emoji speak, then yeah, these things are definitely going to mean something. But you know, if you're talking to your grandma, probably don't fucking matter.
But I definitely saw like a theme of the older institutions are not keeping track with like what the young kids are meaning when they say certain things. Like
it's literally the human condition. Yes.
But yeah, that's because there's always
most charitable towards it so far, like, and not bring up any sort of negative thoughts I might have. Like, definitely seems like that could be
what's positive.
Yeah.
What's positive?
It's neutral, at least.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Can I get a custom sound alert? I will make myself with voice and some samples. Yeah, you know what? Lucifer sent it to me because the other day you subscribed on Twitch, and we can put it on the Twitch channel. So we'll do that.
I think discretion lies with Kitty as to what you send her.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. That's it. Thanks for that disclaimer, Galinze, because but I think Lucifer will do something very cool.
He's a goodish boy.
Charles also happens to have a soundboard. I'm just saying, Charles has one as well. You never know. You could get in with Charles too.
I do also have a soundboard, but I haven't set it up yet.
All right, who doesn't have a soundboard here?
I mean, I do have one, but it's. And guys, we're gonna try out EVMux again.
Ugh.
Oh,
and there's
boy.
a soundboard in EVMux. So
I tried that for the first time the other day.
It's a good idea. So, very much like a group I was a part of. A really good idea. The execution.
Well, we're gonna have to.
Sorry about that.
Intermission here, guys. We are going to have an overlap where we try this, or maybe I'll at least try it on a solo stream, so Charles doesn't have to get upset.
I can't believe Charles just called out the thinkers like that. We have the idea of being thinkers, but we don't.
He used to be a part of it. So now he's a freelancer.
So you guys say you think, but the execution's all fucked up.
But yeah, I mean, overall, like I've definitely like been kind of glued to the screen when I was watching the show, so that's a good sign. I think it actually is quite interesting. Though, I didn't pay attention well enough in the first episode. Because like I'm in the latter half of the first episode where he's in the interrogation room, all right? Everything has happened where it's like, okay, I can see the dad's upset. I'm honestly empathizing with the dad, having to hear the comments, like with the strip search and everything. Obviously, spoilers. Just watch the show. It's 4 episodes. I didn't do it, but watch the show. It's 4 episodes. But I actually somehow missed the point where they brought up the video evidence.
Oh my god! Come on.
Like he said that he was 5 minutes away from finishing it.
Yes, I jumped into VC and I'm like, I have 5 minutes before this thing is finished, and then I was told leave, come back when it's done. Okay, I come back like a minute and a half later, and I completely missed the part where they show the video of him doing the deed, because before that I went in there and I was like, so like I understand that they're going with the foregone conclusion that he did it, but he didn't admit to anything. because I didn't see the video, and I was like, nothing was proven.
Oh,
And
That's a
Galente is
fun
like,
way to
what
do
are
it.
you
Hold on.
talking about?
Hold up. I'm going to put you on blast right now, Bimo.
Go back and watch it right now.
You said that the cops were taking it, that it was a foregone conclusion that he was the murderer because the kid cried. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean?
Is there something wrong? Is everything good?
No, I'm fine. Is everything okay?
Audio?
Yes, we're good. Oh,
Yeah,
Bimo.
I suddenly can't hear people.
Oh.
That's a you problem, Beam.
Yeah, Bimo's having a stroke, everybody.
I start putting him on blast, and he's like, "Oh, what audio issues? Oh no! Oh, what's happening?"
Oh, you're calling me? Oh, what? I can't hear you. It's
oh man, I'm going into
okay.
Convenient timing. That's awesome.
Love him though, but no, he did miss the footage
reveal,
of, like, the actual like stabbing taking place, and so when he went back and rewatched it, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's a recontextualization, big time." But to be kind of in the same shoes as where Bimo is, but also giving a different interpretation. I took the Andrew Tate name drop, the Manosphere references, at face value as them being topics being discussed within the show.
Yeah.
And
as main themes, kind of.
It's just like a compass, like what's going on with. I'm sorry, Galente.
Oh no, you're fine. A big reason why I'm giving it that charity is because all the characters thus far have been extremely consistent, and the female detective who gets snubbed in the classroom, who she's the one that's like, oh, that Andrew Tate shit. She has been in character this whole time, including when she's talking about the Andrew Tate shit. And so as long as the characters remain consistent and the story goes somewhere with it, I'm not going to shit on the story for a character
be like, it's woke.
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to be somewhat uninformed. Like it takes the actual like detective's kid to like tell them like, hey, you guys are looking stupid. This is what these emojis mean or whatever. And the way that they relate it is, oh, that Andrew Tate stuff. So I don't know. To me, it worked. It wasn't like it was over the top, and it wasn't really blaming him. It's the cop lady. That's the only way that she can relate.
I just need to know: was Andrew Tate paid for his name to be dropped?
No.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Stiff Kittens. That is a. I actually want to talk about that just now. That if we were talking about the technical mastery, that was quite cool. So just. I'm gonna pin that just as a.
How many pins we keeping pins in pin?
Yeah, Galente's got like 8 pins already. Okay.
But okay, so we are talking about the
Manosphere. One that matters.
Do you guys? Okay, so Gray, you said that in the first 2 episodes, that's where when that name drop happens, that's where the Manosphere theme is strongest, right? But
yeah,
actually,
I was gonna say they kind of explain it in 3, but the kid like shrugs it off, like, no, not really, not that. So I don't know. It seemed like it was a theory in 2, but then when the kid explains like his own motivations, he's like shrugs that part off.
Yeah, he shrugs it off. But I feel like episode 3. So in episode 3, from the interaction between, because she's also a woman, between him and the psychologist, whatever. It actually is
100%.
offering
He's
further.
Treating her so much differently. Like that's what's awesome, that it's kind of more shown than said, but just the way he's treating the male, anyone, like even the lower kind of just guards that simply open a door versus her. Like I don't know. It shows that he definitely has these points of view, but I'm not sure that they came from like the Manosphere. Like when you see kind of the traditional household that he has, like the way that Stephen Graham, now I'm forgetting the character's name, but the father Miller, the way that he like just completely trashes the kitchen, getting the sponge and the bucket alone. Like he's not really going to like clean any of the stuff. It does seem like he's not necessarily like treating it seems like there are clues that he might not be, the most progressive male. So I don't know. He might be getting these values from home. Also, the whole, like anger thing he mentions, possibly his father having an anger problem. Not that he hits her or hits him or anything, but still, it seems like there are issues other than Andrew Tate that add to this.
Wait, Eggplant needs to speak.
Yeah.
But also, see, when you get into the 4th episode, it's like, look at what they are dealing with. They are under insane amounts of stress and pressure. So is there no understanding if the father gets upset? Like, no, you're not supposed to throw a kid on off of his bike or anything, but
I don't know, man. That kid deserves it.
If the kid wrote nonce on the freaking thing and is laughing at him, he's dealing with this circumstance of his son being a killer. Is there no empathy for this guy? Is there no understanding? Why are we presuming that is just how he lives his everyday life?
Yeah.
But that's part of what my issue is. Like, they bring it up, like, this is what happens, but they don't have like any sort of resolution to the issue. Or it's just like, this is their life now. But like, how would?
There's no commentary on it. It's just like, look how shit this is.
It's just like, this is what happens.
Did you feel like the show was at all trying to say that the solution is to talk about it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think
supposedly that's the goal of it. I guess so. Like, so they were hoping that this could be used as a way to start a conversation with your
conversations.
kids.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think that's what I was trying to articulate earlier with episode 3. Is I feel like one of the overriding things is the solution is to talk about it, and it's for me that's just not how boys operate.
Go into the pictures.
but I understand that that's not how boys operate, but there needs to be some. So I feel like there is a little bit of messaging of there needs to be some sort of connection with a man and his son when it comes to the detective, right? He is he's completely out of it with his. He's not connected to his son. And there's some stuff that's laid out that, oh no, he's the softer one of the two, of him and his wife, because the son phones and says he's sick and coughs but he's talking about his stomach, and that's why he doesn't want to go to school.
That reminds me
of
Jamie's parents, and when the mom is like, "Why did he pick you?" Do you remember that?
No.
When it's chosen guardian that needs to represent. Like,
you know what? That was okay. So as not knowing that he was going to he had done this. When he picked his dad, I was like, it's because he did it, because he can't stand to see his mother fall apart. He chose his dad because also it's embarrassing. Dad will maybe understand a little bit better, and dad's maybe at least a bit more stoic. He'll deal with this.
That story he tells about playing footy says the opposite, because when he turns away, like, he felt embarrassed.
Yeah, he felt. So what? Who felt embarrassed? His dad.
His dad. He was playing
he couldn't
football.
even watch him. He had to look away.
Right. So
no, but he still reaches out. That doesn't mean that also human relationships is not like that. Just because he had that one experience, that doesn't mean he completely blocks his dad
for the
out.
sake of storytelling. Like, why give us that bit of information?
Do you think it's incongruous?
I took it as if he got busted, he wouldn't have to look him in the eye. He knows that his father would just look away, and that is what he ends up doing.
That is a good. Oh yes, so if you watch it again, because he does look away. Yeah.
Are we saying that it's objectively true that while he's talking about footy, that the father looks away?
Yeah, they both have this. They both refer to this story. That was really great.
I think he's a reliable protagonist. Yes.
I'm just saying it's objectively true that was shown in the film at that time.
Film.
I mean, I had feelings about it, so it's
of course you did. Of course you did. That's not what I was asking.
I object
it happened
to the
though, right? Objectively, you were citing it as evidence.
Watch Great
Okay,
Odds.
going back, sorry,
I
guys.
don't have a
Going back,
reason to call him like an unreliable narrator. He seems pretty reliable. I haven't seen him lie other than when he told his dad, I didn't do it. But I mean, who doesn't say that? Is there a criminal that's like, yeah, I did it?
The kid brings up his dad. The kid brings up his dad looking away, but then the dad brings it up in the 4th episode when they're crying on the couch. How he talks
I
about.
didn't want to ruin that for Galente. He hasn't seen
it's
that
fine.
yet.
I said
that's
I'm
why I
fine
was
with
going
spoilers.
yes.
It's okay.
Objectively, it's
this
covered from
happens in the
two
4th
perspectives.
episode. Yes.
Objectionably.
oh, guys, we're about half an hour away from that discussion.
Great.
Just hold it.
Great.
I'm sorry, I have to.
Knipe. Yeah.
Gray, I cut you off a little bit earlier. You were saying that it was the purpose of the show to assert that talking is the answer.
Supposedly. Well, it was that this could hopefully serve as a way to start a conversation with your kids. That essentially the accusation that they just let the kid on his computer for hours unsupervised, that could lead to something horrible if you get sucked down a rabbit hole or something like that. So hopefully this would open up an opportunity to talk to the kid and find out what's going on. But I don't know.
Interesting.
That would take a lot of effort. I don't know.
show
It would be hard to be a parent now with the amount of technologies that's out there. Like algorithms are kind of crazy. I've seen way too much crazy shit on YouTube. I couldn't imagine like a kid, a very impressionable kid on there.
So I know half this panel doesn't want kids, but if you did, what age would you give them a cell phone? And what age would you let them on social media?
I don't know, man.
I got an answer.
Really? 14?
I mean, they've got those like weird kid ones that are like kind of flip phones or whatever. Like you can, I think you've got a certain amount of text that you can do, and it basically just calls. So it's like
the one they
I don't
give
know.
to
the dumb phone.
grandparents.
Yeah,
the
dumb
dumb
phones.
phone.
Yeah, exactly. That I could see giving like a younger kid, and once they show that I could trust them, so I'm sure before they're a teen they would have it. But you know, I wouldn't be a great parent, so I don't know why you're asking me.
I
would say. Sorry, Charles, go for it.
I do think kids making a mistake today is a hell of a lot more loud and has just a bigger, I don't know, vibration than us prior to social media and chat.
Yes.
Cell phones weren't popular when
bullying
I
is
was a
It
different.
kid.
goes
now.
beyond word of mouth now.
Yeah, bullying
Yeah.
is more for pervasive. It's invasive. It's in you.
You can't escape
in
it.
your exactly. You can't just go home and be happy at home and go and have your life. You go online and everybody is talking shit about you or whatever. It's like
Right. There's no escape.
yeah.
You can't like move to a different town and just start over and rebuild. That shit follows you.
So Eric says it was the hardest thing to watch. I talked to my son while watching it. It's hard to be being a parent nowadays, but it can be done. So you're part of the target audience there.
He's the one that
you...
recommended the show to me.
Oh, okay. so
he's
what
the
kind of
root
conversation did you have with your son? You know, like as you go along.
I will keep my eyes out for him to respond to us on that one.
Thank you. But just going a little bit back to the manosphere thing, because that's actually part of what made this a polarizing discussion there, is because it was like, oh, it's the feminists and the versus manosphere and the incels and the whatever. But I actually, when I watched it, yes, that was a theme, but also it was like, good Lord, technology is making life very difficult for children. And also, oh my God, what the hell is happening in schooling? And lots of horrible problems. So it wasn't the main focus for me until in episode 3, when we have this interaction between the female counselor and him. It seems like, yes, he does shrug off the manosphere incel beliefs. He says, no, that's not how he doesn't believe in that or whatever. But then he kind of demonstrates that he has those beliefs anyway,
Right.
by the way he treats her, where he's like, oh, you scared of a little boy kind of thing. That made me so angry. I was
The
like,
cinematography
why
helped
are you...
that too.
Yeah, that was also just very much so just in your face stuff. That was, and also just the kids acting just brilliant. Like if you had a weak kid actor there, and I mean, kid actors, you can't be mad at them. That was a really powerful way that he switched from anger to being sorry or whatever. That was very adolescent, actually. It wasn't just, oh, I thought, okay, you could, if you wanted to, be like, you see, boys are the devil. Look at these boys. Look what they think. Look at that. And it's more like, no, that's actually a boy in adolescence. That's trying to figure out where he stands. Do you like me? I want to be liked because I'm an adolescent. That's what I'm busy trying to navigate in my life. So yeah, with the manosphere, I guess I can understand why it's a central theme with this, because it very much does gender dynamics. Any thoughts on the way that this? Because I mean, they did seem to emphasize that the other psychologist who just asked questions was male, and the way that she was very manipulative, and they were very chatty, and sandwiches and hot chocolate and all of this. Kind of was like, oh, she is the better worker. She works harder. She's more interested.
What?
The other guy's going through the motions.
Because
she
she's a
works
woman?
harder. She does more sessions.
Yes. She's more thorough.
Speaking of which, slight non sequitur, the security guard guy was in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. He plays a very badass role, and it's the look, the sound, it was disconcerting for me.
Yeah,
but yes,
what do you think of that? What?
That first scene where she says, like, she's more thorough, she does more sessions, I felt was indicating that she's better at her job than the other guy.
Eric,
Yeah, I think that's also why she went so hard with him and kind of made him. So if you look at it, she's treating him a certain way, and then when you see how he kind of reacts to the male guards versus her, and then when she's able to tell the male guard to go away after he's already said it, and the male guard didn't listen to him at all, but he listens to her, that's when he truly like kind of goes off. There's some really fun dynamics that they're just kind of showing you there, but I'm not sure if he would have gotten that from, say, like the manosphere, since he did kind of shrug that off, or if that's just kind of, it's definitely gender dynamics the way that he sees that, but I'm not sure if that's something that he learned from home or what, because in the next episode you see how angry the father gets. Like, genuinely there's a reason for it. Again, that word is spray painted on his van. He knows the kids that did it, he sees them later, but you can see like this anger is definitely building up. It does seem like that is possibly a learned thing.
But the thing is, you need discipline. You need, yeah, that's it. Eric, don't talk to the cops. Call dad right away. Ask for a lawyer. But we have been talking about the man red pill for a while now. We speak about feelings, rage, hate, how to talk, deal with it. Yeah, I do. Look, I guess I am. Hello, hi, female. I am a proponent for. I'm very happy for the talking about it thing. I think that can't hurt. I understand that the way you talk about things and the effect of talking about things would be different for men, for boys, but I think not talking about it is probably not a good idea. Eggplant. You were saying you were saying, because now Sargon's video was saying how this whole system is designed basically by women, and it's catering towards women. It doesn't actually use discipline for men and things like that, and it's very much about feelings. And what do you think of that, though? What do you do you really think that how should we approach boys then? Because look at Eric's
I think Sargon takes it a bit far, but I think like I do agree that the school system is geared more towards women and talking, and there are less opportunities for boys to be physical outside of, one gym class period at some point, which no one even really likes or has all that much fun in. They don't get to like build things. Like there's wood shop and metal shop, but those are you can do that in other settings as well. You can do that with chemistry and engineering and things that
home hack.
I just
You can build cakes.
you can
So like activity.
Yeah, I think there are more activity-based ways that you could teach young boys through.
Agreed. I don't know. Is that a factor? Is it? It seems like that's not. I don't know. It kind of seems like that's a completely separate point than anything that this film is about, or this show is about. Am I something like? I agree. Like the institutions aren't great for boys. I don't know that led to this.
Well, it's slightly too far to say the incompetence of the teachers and their lack of knowledge that the kid was even being bullied. The scene where I don't remember if she was a teacher or a counselor that was talking to that girl who punched the guy in the face. The solution to that was to talk to her. Not that like you aren't supposed to talk at all to someone who punches a student in the face. You do need to have that conversation, but expecting I feel like the show was saying that that's how you handle all of outbursts and aggression is through this talking. And I felt like it portrayed the school as somewhat incompetent. And insofar as the boys versus girls conversation IRL is, I think that kind of approach is more effective for girls than boys.
It just seems like schools, parents, all of that, as shown in this show, are overmatched and underprepared for situations like this.
Yeah. And there is just this weird lack of respect from the kids. I don't know where that comes from, but I guess they talk about, but they talk about it. They do also talk about it in the at the end when the parents are discussing it. Why this happened and whatever. He's like, my dad beat me, and I didn't want to beat my child. So maybe if I beat him, he wouldn't have done this, right? When is that why kids have a lack of respect for adults?
You might fear them more if you did lay the smack down.
It works on some kids.
Is it because it's gone too gentle? Like there's no spanking. Spanking's bad, and
well, it's like the pendulum, right? Go ahead, Greg.
Well, maybe. I mean, so again, I'm not a parent. I've raised a couple of dogs, and I've done it very improperly. They're not great, but yeah, I don't know. When I was researching, there's like two schools of thought. There's like negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement, and apparently, positive reinforcement is seen to be much more effective, and it is what everyone recommends rather than like beating a dog down. But apparently, both could work. So I would assume that we're not all that different. You could probably positively reinforce with a child as opposed to hitting them, but it doesn't seem like the parents were super involved, I think is the point.
That was like
he just saw these flashes of violence, not apparently towards people, but he wouldn't talk to him when he kind of failed, and then he failed at every sport, and that seemed to make the dad look away every time he like embarrassed himself. And he saw him attack a shed. He saw him, I think there was one other act of violence that he said he saw, but it wasn't towards a person. But we see that at the end, which kind of would lead you to believe he's kind of an angry guy who's not necessarily there, and definitely not adding to making him an emotionally whole person. So I don't know. Then they mentioned that, once he couldn't do sports, he would do a bunch of drawing and art, and that seemed to make him happy until he didn't. And then finally they got him a computer, a keyboard, a headset, and he was just away on his own for hours. So I don't know. It seems like they're both blaming the parents, like, nature, but then they're also blaming the nurture, the fact that they didn't do anything and now he learned from the internet. So I'm not sure which one they're saying is like responsible for it, but
I don't think they're saying categorically one or the other, because the parents do take responsibility. That one of the things that they do go like, I think we have to accept that it's our fault, that we did something wrong. Like she says that. She's like, we did this. And hey, there is also the parallel of the way that their daughter's portrayed. We haven't spoken about that.
Because they didn't do a job of it either.
What is she like? Well, why do you say that though? Are you making a joke, or it seems like she's just less dangerous?
A little bit of both. Like, like it's another thing that the show presents as like, yeah, this probably happens, but doesn't really ask the right questions or even attempt to give any sort of answer.
Look what Eric says. There is also a rage issue. Most people don't kill people. They showed it in episode 4 with the daughter being awesome, even though they raised her too. So yeah, that is one of the things that they were very happy about her. And they're like, how did we get her and him at the same time? It's like, well, he obviously has more rage and nothing was done about it. I suppose I don't agree with you that the dad's just an angry man. Like Dorcas said,
seems like
the
an
situation.
acceptable release.
But the thing is, he doesn't know how to deal with it himself. He seems rather suppressed a lot of the time. It seems like he seems that way. Yeah.
The scene toward the end where the mom and dad are in their room and the mom keeps mentioning someone, I think her name was Joanna or something. Was that supposed to be like a therapist? Were they in therapy at that point? Is that what that suggested?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think development is a little bit different for boys than it is for girls.
For sure.
What?
Are you saying men and women are different?
Well, what I'm saying is boys have the height of
They'll be boys.
all of their chemical bullshit in their late teens, where girls don't have that until their late 20s. So,
and
menopause.
we don't have testosterone, boys. We don't have that crazy hormone.
Just not nearly to the same degree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you don't have the stupidity of, and I say stupidity is in the recklessness of it.
That recklessness, stupidity is definitely an aspect of testosterone. But girls tend to have more testosterone than boys leading up until puberty.
Yep.
And so you do see that manifest in behavior at that age range.
That's a sugar glider.
It totally goes up to 11 once
into the void.
Kick in.
But I just need to get it out of my system because I've been holding on to this. But like, Kitty, yeah, you see, I'm stupid because of my chemicals. You're stupid because you're you.
Yeah.
There you go. It was in my head. I had to get it out. Okay.
Well, Lucifer's got the quote. Kitty, women don't have crazy hormones. We don't have crazy hormones. We're just crazy. We don't need the hormones to make us do that.
I'm also just going to say, because I've seen a couple of opinions on Sargon in the chat. I don't regularly watch him or anything like that. It's just this particular video he had was topical to this conversation. So I thought it was
into the Lotus
noteworthy. I've never paid for any YouTube merch, or I've never super chatted. I've never membership.
All right.
First time for everything.
It's not the worst thing in the world for people to super chat.
Okay, Dorcas, you're offering it.
Especially when it's about naming a stick.
I think Davina's got a really good point.
What did she say? Witches be crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so we've spoken about the themes. Are there any themes we haven't really discussed?
Unanswered questions.
Unanswered questions. What do you mean?
I don't
know. The show
like you don't know solution to the problem.
It gets a C from me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, great. I'll recognize the problems. Any suggestions? No.
Okay. So story-wise, thematically, we will get to.
I mean, I
suppose ratings, but thematically, it seems like you're like, no bueno. Okay, let's just go into the. let's go into the technicalities of it, right? Because there was that some of the stuff that you can appreciate. What did you guys think of the chase scene? I thought that was fucking cool.
I thought it was neat, except
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it looked like both of them were doing a light jog.
I think you
yeah,
compared it to the
Yeah.
Obi-Wan show, BMO.
No, I compared
See,
it to the
No.
Obi-Wan show,
Lente
but,
did
Lente
that.
did.
but
I
I
haven't
did,
seen
yeah.
the Obi-Wan show.
When
No.
you're watching that kid half run, and this guy who is just like jacked, I know he's capable of chasing this kid down, and he's going at like 3/4 speed,
He's
2/3
like
speed.
45.
Yeah, but no, come on, watch it again and be critical of how fast these two can run. And it's slowed down for the camera. I understand why, but it does give you the vibe that like they're not actually running after each other. It's a set piece. It does break the illusion, and it harmed my verisimilitude. I'll say that, a very subjective take.
When?
So we should
The
have just
whole
like
way
tackled
through.
the kid.
Almost like, especially when they were running up the ramp and running past people. I think Ryan ends up throwing people to the side, and it's like, you could have caught him right then and there, but you didn't, because the scene needs to continue. It's fine. It's fine. I just noticed.
But okay, the technicality of the camera following them the whole way through until he's caught. I mean, I was breathless.
It creates this sense of immersion where it's like you're there the whole way, especially after like being surprised by the scene I referenced earlier of going through the window. It really pulls you in.
What do you think of that kid? Was that another point where you're like, "Ooh, is that the kid that did it? He seems like the guy that's going to do that thing. He seems
he's
messed
running.
up enough."
There's got to be a
I
reason
mean,
why he's running.
Yeah, because he gave him the knife.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing to mention is, sorry, I didn't mention it before, but it's like also all these kids, they did not. The only helpful kid is the detective's son. Really, the rest full of shit. Because they were all taking part in this bullying campaign. They were like, oh shit, yeah, oopsie. That's why they not. It's not the only reason, because they're also just assholes. They stay away from the whole thing. They're not helpful at all, because it would also implicate them.
It would, and it's societally, at least like within little cliques. Like if you associate with yourself with the weirdo, you're going to be the weirdo next.
Well,
so of course, keep away from it.
That behavior was super consistent. It wasn't before Ryan ran from the cops that I knew he was up to something. It was when he was in the nurse's office being super averse to any sort of questioning, asking if he could leave. That's when you started cluing in that this kid knows more than what he's letting on. And it rings true.
Wildly suspicious.
Yeah.
Like, could you be any less suspicious, please? I know that you're on a show and you're supposed to be suspicious, but damn.
And then he's asking the questions that he asks as well. It's just like, hey, Goodwin, this is the thinking section, I swear.
Non-smoking thinking section.
For me, this is the drinking section.
So the coffee drinking, actually, I'm going to make coffee just now. But okay, could we go around and give ratings for it?
Sure.
On which aspect what axes shall we give? What categories?
I think like technical and like what do we want to do? Cultural, technical and cultural, because it's a cultural thing right now. Apparently,
soft and technical and.
It's the Minecraft movie for Britain.
A Minecraft movie.
Okay, relax.
One of many.
Okay, whoa.
It's 13 Reasons Why for Britain.
That's a bit
there
more
you go. That works.
But
Come on, don't let me keep talking. Someone talk over.
Okay, Graham, let's start with you. Overall
sorry,
thoughts on the show. It's what would you rate it?
It's a good question. Maybe like a 6.5 out of 10. I get what they were trying to do. I don't know that it's necessarily as deep or effective as they were going for. Technically, it is really amazing what they were able to get away with. It looks like it's one take. I think they were able to tell everyone that it's one take, and people believed them. I still need to check out that Corridor Crew one where apparently they debunk it, because they went pretty hard in the behind the scenes material saying like these are all one shots and showing how it was all one shot. They had like a second camera showing the camera handoff. I think they were just doing one of the choreographies of it, but still, technically it looks amazing. I think this kid actor is just amazing. I totally closed the window that I had with him, but Owen Cooper, this kid is going to be something. I mean, he was like 13 when they filmed this. Now I think he's 16, and he's currently working with, now I'm forgetting her name, but Harley Quinn. So he's doing a movie with her, which is pretty awesome. But
Margot Robbie?
I think this Margot Robbie, that's the one. Thank you, sir.
I like that.
So yeah, I think he's gonna go on to something amazing. As far as kid actors go, I've seen a lot of really crappy ones in the last couple of years. This kid really sold it. Some of them are better than others, but man, this kid really sold it, and he was able to do these in basically a play format where, you know, you're doing it as one take, and supposedly they're using the whole take. That's some range. He's able to really do a lot, and apparently episode 3, which it was my favorite, is the one that kind of moved me the most. But man, just the range that kid could show in that time, yet still the vulnerability and it just, and still adolescence. Like it is interesting. I really like a lot of what they were able to do, and congrats to Stephen Graham, who gets like a co-writing, co-creating production on this. He played the father in this, and he's looking jacked these days. I guess he gets to play Springsteen's dad in the next in Springsteen's biopic. So
he's come
good
a
for
long
him.
way from Snatch.
Yeah,
that's how I recognize him from. And then Gordon's like, no, he's actually been in a lot of things. I'm like, well, I don't know.
Oh,
He's
so
just
many
the guy
things.
from Snatch to me.
But yeah, there is a much harder hitting version of this. It's actually on Charles's Disturb 15 list as one of the choices. So yeah, if you really want to disturb yourself, you should join Charles's Discord. He's got a list in there of very disturbing videos. I think 5 of them are locked in, and you choose 10 or
Other way around.
10 way around. 10 of them are
of your
locked
choice.
in. You choose 5. One of them you could choose is a disturbing film. It is one of the best books I think I've read. It's from one of my favorite authors, but Lionel Shriver's We Need to Talk About Kevin. And man, the film depiction of that, the film adaptation, it's pretty amazing and really hard hitting, but man, is it dark. And I think it has a lot of things that are kind of going on in here, but I think it's willing to go a lot deeper and a lot darker on some of it. So yeah, if you liked this, but you want to go further, go there. And then apparently film your own reaction and watch like 14 other disturbing films, and then send those to Charles. It'll be fun.
Ooh.
Charles, your thoughts, sir?
I think I've said it a couple of times now. They acknowledge the issue here in the UK. Yeah, your teenage boys are little shits. What are you going to do about it other than make content that basically reminds us that that's the case? I don't think it does much of anything other than acknowledge the fact. Like it's like America making a movie about school shootings. Like, yeah, okay. What else?
Hey, elephants also on that list. If you guys do want to see another disturbing movie, again, go to Charles's Discord.
And that
was the
movie's
school shooter, right?
what?
Sorry,
yeah.
Question. I'm being a jackass. Don't listen to me.
Well, that movie's 25 years old, and we still have this problem. So, like, yeah, making fiction doesn't really, unless it's going to hit hard, it doesn't really say much. I give it a C or a 6 out of 10, a 3 out of 5.
Like not an A. That I think that I want to know if anyone here gives it an A.
No.
Like, because
No.
it's
No.
It's got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Tomatoes is how I would say it. Thank you.
Got some amazing performances in it, but I don't know. I don't know that it has the message that it's supposed to have. To me, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so Galente, let's go Dorcas, because Dorcas has watched the whole thing, and then we'll do the other two that are only halfway through.
Well, to piggyback off of Gray's last point, to summarize my feelings, I thought it was a very engaging but difficult show to watch that was brilliantly acted. And I don't think necessarily accomplished maybe what it was trying to in all respects. And Sargon had some interesting takes on it. That is my take.
Okay. Galente.
So
come to the mic. Come on.
I'm here. I would say that this might be a bit of a segue into the next convo, but I'd like to put two different criteria on how I'd like to assess it, and that is objective and subjective. Objectively and subjectively, this is entirely up to change, considering I've only watched half of it, and I haven't seen the second half of this piece of art, right? But subjectively, I find myself, out of 10, I'd say I'd put it around 6.5 to 7, maybe even 7.5, based off of me feeling compelled to see what will build from here on out. But objectively, I'd give it a minimum of 8 so far.
Objectively, a minimum of 8.
Yes.
Okay.
The world building, character work, and script writing has been extremely consistent. The technical prowess of them achieving this, even though it's an artistic drive, it is obviously intention that they wanted to make all of these episodes one-shots. And they put a lot of effort into making it as seamless as possible, even though there are going to be some hiccups. I really do think that it is quite an artistic drive. Thanks, Bimo. I do genuinely think it is. Appreciate it. It's very difficult for me to point out things that factually did happen or measurable aspects of the craft that I can say are detrimental to it. So it does achieve a high rating for me.
Okay. Bimo? Oh, sorry, Axel.
I heard.
Axel's really trying to get into the room. But I have my head. I guess you can start. You can speak. You go and speak, and I'll just let the cat in. But I won't be able to hear you. So I'll try and glean what you've been saying. Go, Bimo. Okay.
So overall, the 2 episodes were engaging. I don't feel very engaged with most shows. This one, I was pretty glued to the screen most of the time, wanting to watch what was going on. I think that the cinematography had a lot to do with that. Even though I've heard the criticisms of it being like sitcom-esque blocking, it seemed sort of natural enough for me to be able to follow everything just fine. I found it interesting, that's for sure, technically. And acting wise, I think a lot of the kids in this show are fantastic actors. The micro expressions on the friend of the girl that got killed, that was incredible. She's having a conversation with the teacher. I assumed it was like a languages teacher, but I wasn't sure because it was just the room that they were in. But she was just able to capture so many emotions in that little conversation. It was fantastic. So good.
She had
so
rage
I
too.
Watch more.
Speak about her rage.
Absolutely, she had rage.
Mm.
I did. It's funny because like I don't like know why she did that. She made claims of "you killed my friend," but like obviously Ryan didn't do it. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot there that I can't wait to go look at the next 2 episodes. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Right now, I would rate this series pretty highly. Right now.
Yeah, I mean, you want to watch the rest of it.
I do.
So at first, like, I was just making you guys, and you're like, no.
And if the theme is what I'm thinking it is, which is pay more attention to your children and what's going on in their lives, I'm completely fine with that theme and message.
Yeah, pay more attention. Parenthood equals hard, but please speak to your kids.
We skipped right past it, but to answer Dorcas's question from like a half hour ago.
Oh, thanks.
I wouldn't let my kids have social media until they're at least 14 or 15, because that's when I was allowed to do it.
Okay, social media.
Yes.
But a phone?
A phone, that depends on what they're doing. If they're traveling, I want them to have a phone.
Yeah, so you give them a dumb phone.
No, go on.
Say again.
Go on. No,
that's me asking you to go on.
Okay, well, I want to clarify with you, Bimo, because like my niece, I don't think she has social media, but she does have Messenger, and she has like a group chat with her friends, and even that can get ugly. Just anytime there's communication with groups and cliques, it's
yeah, definitely, but I think it all depends. It really all depends.
You can circumvent that functionality with a Nokia brick phone.
That's it. 3310. Boom.
Let them learn T9.
I just think that it's important to be involved in your child's life. My parents tried very hard, albeit me trying to keep them out of my life when I was a teenager. They tried their darndest to make sure that they were involved and knowing what I was doing. No matter what.
There is that thing that you will be, I don't know, just adolescence, really. When you're in adolescence, you're pushing your parents away. You don't let
I was
your parents...
getting up to no good. So they definitely, like, I'm glad that they were harping on me so much and making sure that I was not getting up to too much not good, because that it could have been a couple of regrettable moments. This is true, Eric. You have to balance. You have to balance this. You can keep them from it, but it makes them ignorant on how to deal with it. So maybe there is the argument that you're keeping it from them until they're equipped to deal with it, but and to understand the rules of it, so that it's not influencing them. I mean, their brains are highly plastic at that point, so they're even more influenced by it than an adult is. So. Yeah, there's arguments for both sides, and that just makes me go la la la. So glad I'm not a parent, but I do worry about my niece and nephew. I really do.
And as a counter argument to the other side, like you said, both sides. As somebody who probably, I don't know you guys' backstories to the T, probably has gotten up to more illegal activities than anybody else on the panel.
It's maybe.
Almost all of that illegal activity happened after 18.
Oh, amateur. Dude, they can't charge you as an adult. You got to do it early.
Yeah, I was a good.
They charge you different fees as an adult.
Became a bad-ish man.
Hey, bad boys are the ones that get the chicks, though.
Yeah,
this message is going in the Netflix documentary that they do about dildo. So I hope you know. It'll be a factual.
David Puff to write it.
Yeah, it's a factual thing. So, cool. Well,
I think it's kind of inescapable. Like, kids in terms will be involved in social media.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, and I'm scared, but that's the way it is. Yeah, for me, I think it was a good show. I liked the technical goodness there, not then as such as I could say, because I'm not very knowledgeable on film and things like that, and I was trying to find the meaning behind using this one-shot format, but to me it seems like it actually was just a gimmick. It was just so that they could say, look, we did this. And that is an achievement. It's something that it's part of the marketable thing about your show. So that was the reason I was told to watch it, not because of the themes or anything like that. So yeah, it delivered on that point. But
What did
in
it
terms of
deliver?
it being a phenomenon, the show delivered on, hey, it is one shot. So that's
What does that do for the story for you?
In the first, at
Hey.
least no, yeah, it's a good question, because in the first episode, it really stood out to me, because it was part of that discomfort that I felt for the kid. The fact that we want to cut away, we want to go, okay, we know what happens here, let's go to the next part of the story, but we have to sit in real time while he gets stripped, and we have to wait, and we have to watch the dad's face and see him get upset about what's happening to his son. It made you just, it pushes you, it forces you into the discomfort, which I really I enjoyed that. I think it did it again in episode 3, but maybe it's because the effect of it was so new to me in the first episode. That's why it was so effective. But some people have criticized it for that one shot thing. That means that you have to sit in the car watching them for minutes and things like that. It's like, yeah, but it makes you think about it. So I enjoyed that.
Characters feel more real.
What made you more uncomfortable, that scene or the scene at the very end of Strange Darling where the girl's dying and just staring at the camera for a really long time?
Oh wow!
Oh,
spoilers.
that
All right.
scene. That scene. I was not that uncomfortable with.
Sorry?
No, I was not that uncomfortable at the end. But
You didn't feel
yeah,
strange when watching Strange Darling?
Woof.
Did you even capture the moment of the show? Come on.
I felt lots of strangeness, but in terms of the story and things like that, I also felt what Charles felt about, like, okay, there is a little glimmer of talk to your kids. And I don't think everything needs to have an answer. You don't always have to have an answer when you present a problem with a piece. But that could still feel empty. You would be like, yeah, but you're not telling me what you think about this. You're just telling me it's bad, and we know that. So I understand what Charles meant on that point. But as far as it's being like this phenomenon, because like literally in the UK, they are like they basically shamed this one politician for not watching it, because she is like an activist and working on trying to get smartphones banned in schools and things like that. And she goes on to a news show, and they are so shocked that she hasn't watched it, and putting it in schools and things like that, as if it's this masterpiece that absolutely everyone needs to watch or society is doomed. Relax. I don't think it's that. So I can't give it an A for that. Like if it was that, then I would say A, but no, it's like some episodes are really good, but I'm like on C and B if I'm gonna give it a mark. Okay, what's up? Okay. You guys are busy talking in the background about spoilers. Sorry about anyone being spoiled by this. She mentioned grooming gangs,
Still
and they
worth it.
avoided it. Yes, they are. They avoided the whole grooming gangs thing because no, we got to talk about the stabbing stuff. And look, they're all problems. Enjoy, UK people. But
We're
yeah,
more
that's
focused on trying to get rid of Tommy Robinson, all right?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
So
Demo
That's a
walking
rabbit
into the
hole.
room with a big wooden spoon, ready to stir the pot.
It's a
So-
heck of a rabbit hole. It's
Ninja
not relevant
swords,
at all to this.
you're not allowed to have a potato peeler. That's very dangerous.
Especially if you have Down syndrome.
What?
What?
Okay.
There was somebody with Down syndrome who was arrested for having a bladed weapon, and it was a potato peeler.
Oh,
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Is it like
so
sheathed or something? I mean,
No.
was it?
yeah, they do come with sheaths. Look, let's take this forward into the discussion about objective criticism. We are at the second half of the show. Does anybody need to take a break? Do we want a palate cleanser? How's everyone feeling?
I mean, I brought up Down syndrome. That's a palate cleanser, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
I feel cleansed.
No
I'm
sugar glider.
cleansed.
You could show us.
Oh, I literally
Oh.
just put them back. Sorry.
Oh.
They were
okay.
running all around. I probably should have had the camera on, but I didn't.
But then we
My
would
bad.
have been distracted. We wouldn't have had this highly intellectual discussion, and then thinkers would be ruined.
They are the cutest, most demonic sounding little creatures, though. Love them.
They are.
What sounds
They're
do they make?
crabbing noise.
Mm-hmm.
So they get up like on their back legs and make this like bear like stance, and then it's just this weird crabbing noise is what they call it, but it's kind of like a little tiny person clearing their throat type noise. It's interesting. It kind of sounds like a garbage disposal, but higher pitched.
It's like if there
You
was
Americans
a
and your garbage disposals, man.
It's like if there was a demon that
So
stood
useful.
about 10 inches tall screaming at you.
But they're so cute.
They're adorable. I love them.
And they look so soft.
And it's
They
so lovely when you see them glide through your living room from one high place to another.
Okay, I'll as the palate cleanser, I will just put a picture. Just hold on.
Oh my goodness.
So cute, man. Hold on.
The sugary
just one-
gliders that glide all around. They're very sweet. That's why you put them in your mouth.
That's why they're called sugar gliders.
I'm gonna
They're also known
swear
as honey
you
bears.
so hard, Bimo. Shut
You're
up.
gonna
Put it
swear
in
me?
your mouth.
Yeah.
I was just gonna swear
I'll swear
me.
you.
Look at them.
They're
Look how
adorable.
My goodness. Look at the little guy.
So cute.
Oh.
Aw.
Oh gosh. Yeah, you're
Babies.
very lucky, Gray. I would. Although, wait, you don't have cats, hey, Gray?
I don't. I've got
Mm.
like every other species, but not cats.
Yeah, I was about to say,
do you have
if you had
carrier
sugar
dogs?
gliders, it would only be for like 3 days, right?
Daisy heard that we were saying cute things, so she come here, Daisy. Come
Aw.
here. Daisy girl. Hi.
Aw.
Hey, baby. Okay, I think that's a very good palate cleanser. Oh, there's her butthole. She almost showed you her butthole. Daisy.
That would be quite the palate cleanser.
Really clean. Right, so shall we get into the discussion of objective criticism?
Yay.
Sure.
If it exists,
think Gary's
does it exist?
objectively
Does it? The main question, okay, is does it exist and how? How would it? Oh,
Oh wow.
Nice.
Hey.
my Dobermans are more adorable, but they're not softer, okay?
No, sugar gliders are like,
But they are
Bells.
beautiful. They
I have
are
a pet rock,
majestic.
and it's more adorable than your Dobermans.
Untrue.
Very untrue.
in the topic of objective criticism, can I pull the pin that I had mentioned earlier?
Which
Please
one?
do.
Yeah, but
I think
whatever.
I really was only focusing on one. I mentioned it twice.
You just kept reusing it then.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Well, he
But,
didn't take his hand off the handle. You know, it was still
there's a
together. You can put it
reason-
back in.
There's a reason why I found it to be so important is because I think that what a lot of people who would argue that objective criticism has its value are actually arguing for is the you're shaking your head at me already, Charles. You can't even wait for me to finish my piece.
Wow.
But
He objectively
those-
Come on,
disagrees.
get Andrew on here.
no, he subjectively disagrees. But here's the thing: that there is the thing that a lot of people who are arguing for objective criticism are actually trying to advocate for is using what is shown in the film as reference, as if it is evidence of a thing, right? How you feel about a thing, how you interpret a thing, how you take away these things that are being shown in the film is separate. And those are also valid. They're part of the viewing experience. Viewing something for objective qualities does not remove the ability to have subjective feelings or interpretations of a thing. But when somebody says that objectively, in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, there are 7 dwarves, right?
okay.
It is a fact within the film that we can reference. And so if suddenly there are 8, or the story relies on there only being 6, while the rest of the time there's already been 7 established the entire time, then this one thing doesn't quite work.
So in Fight Club, the protagonist is how many people?
Well,
Objectively?
Objectively,
1.5.
Objectively, one person. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, well,
You're muted, Greg.
is it not the case that in Fight Club, this is a person dealing with we call it DID, multiple personality disorder, whichever psychological effect we want to put the label on it, as of whether it be current terminology or past terminology, but it is a person who has multiple different personalities happening within their head, right?
Do we know that?
From what's been shown in the film, everything points to that.
But not objectively speaking.
Well, subliminal messaging still goes into what is objectively true in a film.
I can point out things in the film that are objectively there to reinforce my point. And you may very well be able to point
being there. I mean,
but you could also point out things that are objectively in the film that disprove my point. We would both be arguing objective things, right?
Be subjective interpret.
No, one of us could be wrong and one of us could be right.
Here, guys, what we're asking about here is objective criticism. So there's something called object. We can talk about what is objective and what is subjective. Let's do that. Mm-hmm. But objective criticism, how do we define that? Okay, I can give you a little bit of a thing. It's an evaluation based on measurable standards, such as technical execution, editing, pacing, narrative coherence, or achieving artistic intent. So that's what people have tried to say is objective criticism. Does it hit these notes? Does it do these things? And then subjective criticism is how it's interpreted. Am I?
In other words, does it have an empirical measure that you can use and say, this is empirical. This is 100% what it is. And there's all this other things that's opinions.
And I don't think that you could, like when you're using something like editing, like you're talking about like transitions. So like if you look at Star Wars, it's got some of the cheesiest transitions ever, where if you put that in any other film, you would say, oh, that is objectively a really bad transition. But man, it works in its actual place right there. But I don't know what your steadfast rules of like, okay, that in that case, editing good. But if you put it into another movie, obviously objectively bad. It feels like it is subjective for the piece of art and the experience and the feeling you get out of it.
Well, not to necessarily make an ad absurdum argument, but if you're watching a movie or if you're making a movie and the sound guy totally messes up the audio and somehow that makes it through the production pipeline, and in the middle of the movie you just get dead silence, or really, we've all heard what terrible audio sounds like. There's a lot of peaking and so on. Is that an objectively fair criticism to say that audio was shit?
Mm-hmm.
I would say so.
I mean, sometimes like you want like a crackling and a popping and like literally an audio that is shit. So I'm specifically thinking of like, there's this 70s movie Blowout where now I'm blanking on his name.
Isn't that a porn movie?
Yeah, Travolta. I mean, I'm sure they've made an adult version as well, but no, this one
called Blown Out.
No, it's called Blowout. I'm not into your films, okay, sir. But no, it's an awesome film. It's a sound recording artist who accidentally records a murder, and then hilarity ensues from there. But there's okay. So it is Brian De Palma and it's fucking awesome. But yeah, it's from a while ago. It's from well before BMO was ever born. So there's no way that he would know about this thing. But
100%.
Anyway, there are intentionally some bad audio in there on purpose. I can think of a couple other films where there's supposed to be like some jarbled audio. Tarantino does it quite a few times, like Kill Bill, where he's obscuring the bride's name. If you did that in most films, it would be like, this is objectively tacky. This is weird. But in the homage version that he's using, subjectively it works for me. But just like the transitions that I was saying before, like the weird wipes and stuff, it did not work for, I think it was Davina was saying that it really took them out of the prequels. Someone in chat was saying that, at least.
But what you're getting at with
Davina.
But what you're getting at with the audio argument and the transition argument is the presumption that these things are done with a purpose, be it that they fit the style or they are doing for a specific effect. But as Galente had said earlier, if you're making Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, but you only cast 6 dwarves.
Okay, but when we're talking about the editing, there isn't a choice that is not intentional.
Example.
Like every part of editing is intentional.
But
you say it's intentional, but what if you're just not good at your job? Or what if you don't?
It could be a stylistic choice.
I have an example of what you're asking for, Gray.
I'm just saying that it could be a stylistic choice to have bad editing. There is a comedic version of that, and it's worked very much.
I want to ask you guys about.
Is it objectively bad if that's what you're going for? If
so
the mission that you're accomplishing is that, and you want that feeling.
So with editing and all of those things, if we talk about objective criticism, would objective criticism include the context of the film, as in the film on its own purpose, what it's trying to achieve? So wouldn't then the purpose of certain elements, like you said, everything does have a purpose. So, well, you hope so. So the bad audio has a reason for being there. That wouldn't make it objectively bad.
No,
we would be analyzing. This is how I'm thinking, that even if you are doing objective criticism, you do still have to put that text into its context. You have to put it into its own. You have to go and say, what's its own goal? What's its own?
I hear what you're saying. Like if you capture it really poorly, like I think AVP, is it Requiem, Charles? What's the one that can barely be seen?
With the lens cap on?
Yeah.
It's Requiem.
Is it Requiem? So I think everyone would say like that was objectively filmed poorly, or it doesn't look great. It's not like it's like a stylized choice. Yeah, it's really dark, and I'm sure they were. Charles is giving us an example.
I'm live on AVPR. Can you see me?
I have something in line with what
I would
saying,
say.
Ray.
So I would say, like, you could definitely say that, but when it comes to something like editing, like, man, there's so many stylistic choices. Like, especially if you're like trying to make like what's supposed to be like a crappy like porno or like an homage to it or something like that within a story. Like, of course, you're gonna have bad acting, you're gonna have bad editing, you're gonna have bad lighting, you're gonna have bad audio. All those work, even if they're subjectively not supposed to be good, if that's what you're trying to get in there. But I think you would, by an objective standard, say like, this is really poor editing, this is really poor lighting choice. Again, like you'd go down this laundry list, but it's that subjective thing in the end. So like, again, you can do really poor shit that works out well.
You presume that everyone, I so apologize if this sounds like a dirty question. I don't mean
no,
it like
I'm ready for it. Come on, come with the backhanded.
Do you presume that every movie is made by fully competent people and fully talented
I do not.
people?
I do not, but I think every single thing that ends up within a frame is intentional. I think like sometimes you can get happy accidents, but you're choosing to point a camera in a certain direction to gather something. So I don't think it's by luck that you get like just amazing performances or anything like that. But there are some really poorly shot movies. I know I used to watch a ton of them on VHS, which just, it looked horrible. But you could still get the performance out of it. Like it wasn't necessarily how sharp it can be. And then since then they've done some 4K transfers. Aliens kind of comes to mind. It has this like otherworldly effect where, you know, kind of the worse version of how it looked actually looks a lot better. Like the non-crispness really helps it. So I don't know. By today's standards, it would be out of focus. It wouldn't be objectively great cinematography.
I'm super eager to respond because one of the things you've been focusing on, Gray, thus far is that editing is something that's done with care and craft and everything that you put into the editing is intentional, right? Like, I'm not trying to trap you. I'm just trying
necessity has to be when you edit something, somebody is choosing a start and stop point. Like, by necessity, it is intentional.
But there are different aspects of editing outside of just the start and stop point, right? Would we consider?
Yeah, you could choose transitions. You can choose the way that the audio interplays with it, for sure.
Would we say a movie that has opening credits, right? It has an opening theme in which it shows the higher listing of credits, right? The starring actors, director, writer, so on and so forth, right? If a movie were to have such a dark opening sequence and that most of the screen that's being taken up on is completely black, and
that
then
could be cinematography.
It very much so, but that is already, boom, we have in editing, this is the shot that we're using, and it's this dark, and it can be shaded, right?
But if the shot is black, what is the editor supposed to do?
I'm not even at the point of criticism yet, though, right? You can have a dark atmospheric shot, and that's fine. However, then if you're having these opening credits show up, and the text that you're putting on top of this screen is in black, and the letters overlap with these dark black spaces to the point where you can't read what the credits are, would it not be fair to say that objectively the point of credits is for you to be able to read the words? And since this editing choice was made, it just completely devalued what you're getting from it because it makes the credits illegible.
What if that
I would think it's subjective because, okay, so for instance, I'm trying to think of what it is. It's a death metal film. Literally, they put all the...
I'm referencing, by the way.
But what if it's done for
I'm talking about...
they're acknowledging the fact that it's black.
So
one at a time.
Mine literally agrees with what Charles is saying. Like, okay, so I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was last year. I can't remember if it was Heavy or Trip. If not, it's this other death metal one that I watched last year. But it is a comedy movie, and the way that they give each credit is with death metal, like actual, like band logos, which the point of those is you literally can't read them. So it's like, it is a stylistic choice. So it is going against that. So objectively, but you were saying like objectively, the goal is to read it. You can't read it. Like you have to wait for like the final credits to come up. So is that objectively bad or
no? Because
you're right.
It's done with purpose. Whereas the Suicide Squad example that I'm bringing up seems to be a result of just pure incompetence, where somebody didn't double check their work to realize that black text was on black backgrounds. Therefore, you can't read who made the fucking movie.
The Battle of Winterfell.
You see what I'm saying? Like there's a difference
but again, both of those are
thematically appropriate and something.
I hear what you're saying. Illegible. I understand all of the words that you're saying, and I don't know that it's not a stylistic choice. And then it is subjective. There are people who stand by the Battle of Winterfell. So the one that Dorcas just brought up, it is seen as like, so sadly, Charles has not watched it far enough in to know about this very dark battle. It's the AVP of the Game of Thrones battles, if you will. They choose to do natural lighting. So like they're just lit by torches and shit. And yes, thank you, Charles. You're demonstrating quite well. So it makes for spoilers. Not the most entertaining of fights, especially after they had just had like Battle of the Bastards. Like they had some really cool fights that were visible, but then they decided to go with one stylistically for some reason that is just dark as shit, and you really can't see what's going on. And people like complained about having to adjust their TVs. Yeah,
Mike.
So I don't know. I'm not sure.
And it made it a worse experience because of that darkness, right? That stylistic choice made it less enjoyable.
For some people, they're
you
like
were just saying
really
that it was less enjoyable.
For me, I said I would like to actually see the battle, but it was a choice.
If it was more visible.
Yeah, but there are literally critics who have said this is a masterpiece. This is amazing. I love the choice that they did here. So it seems like it's a subjective opinion.
For sure, but I do feel like I was engaging you on the topic of like editing being something that's very purposeful, and I brought up an example of text being completely illegible based off the background.
Sorry,
and I don't feel like what I said got
with the Suicide Squad, there could be a secondary reason. Like, so literally David Ayer's name got taken off of that, and they went with a different company. There could be two different visions coming together on that. I'm not sure if it is a stylistic choice or the fact that they hired essentially a commercial company to edit an entire movie, a trailer company.
But my point is that the end result is still bad. That's what
I don't think it's great. I think the entire movie is not necessarily a coherent movie, and I don't know whose fault that is, because they again hired the trailer.
Say that a black text on a black background is not legible and therefore detracts from the purpose of what it was put on the screen for.
So if it was white text on the black background, would that repair the film at all?
No, but it would repair the credits. It would make it so you could read them.
I would say that that does.
As IJP Mexican is saying, there are some people who are into corpophagia out there, and I don't necessarily condone it, but I think that would somewhat be subjective. I think the vast majority of us would say I would not enjoy that experience, but hey, there are a few that would. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that
is a principle.
What's corporate fantasia?
Well, so isn't it that this? So what is our definition of objective then? Because I thought it was without feelings. I definitely have feelings. They're guiding whether or not I would enjoy that. So the answer is I would not.
In media,
I don't know. I don't think that is objective.
Objective is not without feeling. I'd say objective is based on fact.
Guys,
I object.
Sorry, go ahead.
In media theory, it's the idea that objective criteria exist. So when a work fails its intended purposes, so it's like, does it do what it's supposed to do? Okay, like say a comedy that isn't funny, right? Okay.
That's 100%
While subjective factors like cultural context shape interpretation. So it's not about interpretation really, it's about execution, I suppose.
So if you're talking about comedy, like I Will Die on This Hill, but there's somebody who likes, every type of comedy. There's those who like Jeff Foxworthy. There's those that like Carrot Top. There's any like hack comedian that you can think of. There's somebody that likes them. There are people who like going to clubs literally just to watch people fail, and they think that's hilarious, and that's their version of comedy. Like it is 100% subjective whether or not something's funny.
100%. Yeah.
Great. When we're talking about something like generally, when someone was talking about empirical evidence, they're talking about majority of evidence. Specifically, this is what shows. It's not necessarily this is 100% always the way that things work.
I just disagree with you on this. Man, I'm going to die on this hill that comedy is subjective.
But don't.
So I'm sorry, but like an IMDb score isn't going to tell me whether or not I find something funny.
Hear me out for a second, because yes, while I agree, humor is subjective. There are certain people that their comedy reaches everyone, and they've got majority claim on these guys are just so funny. I don't remember their names at the moment because I'm freaking. I was
gonna say, do you have an example? Because everyone that I can think of that I would put on like my Mount Rushmore, so there's a lot of people that hate Carlin. There's a lot of people that hate Burnham and think that the piano is a hack gimmick. But
George.
There are a lot of people to say a lot of anything about anything.
You're right, and that's why I'm saying it's subjective. Hannah Gadsby, her stadiums are full. While I don't get it, and it is not for me. I don't know, man. That's why I would say it's subjective. She does have an audience. She is selling out.
She objectively has an audience.
She's got like 3 Netflix specials. I mean,
Andy
someone's watching that shit.
Does that brings in the idea of consensus? Okay.
Consent. If always get consent.
Yes.
Always get consensus. So when there's consensus about something, so when a lot of people agree about something, is objectivity actually just collective consensus? That when it's most people agree on something, that's actually what objectivity is. Because if everybody agrees on a certain standard, that they've gone through their subjectivity, right, their feelings and stuff, and said this is what is good to me. They have a standard which is subjective, and then they go and rate things according to their own standard, which is still subjective.
I guess that's
where you're at, Gray.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is like I think it still depends on the individual person and the experience. And I have seen comedians that I don't think are funny, but out of like pure charisma or whatever, Okay, so Charles is really good in front of a crowd. He's not that funny, but man, is it enjoyable. I would still rank him high. No, I'm just saying, like, I can't think of a comedian that I would say, like, this is not funny. So if we're talking about, like, actual objective thing, okay, where is the cutoff? Who is not a funny comedian objectively?
Jamie Kennedy.
I disagree, man. Didn't you see him in that Matt Rife movie?
Another one.
Don't Suck. Yeah, like he was a road comic. I thought you would have identified with him. So I don't know. I think there's a lot that we subjectively like would not find funny, but there's a lot of movies that I find hilarious that I don't think you would. Same thing with like
comedy.
Yeah, well, that's why I said, like, I don't think this is a good one because, like, I will die on that hill. Amy Schumer has been funny. I don't find her currently funny, but man, she has made me laugh in the past. She was on a few roasts that she actually kicked ass.
Humor is definitely.
Can I ask you guys, is it possible for something to be? I think this will help us just frame where everybody is and what they're trying to argue. Can something be objectively bad? Gray, am I incorrect in saying that you are saying there's no such thing as objectively bad? There's no such thing as objectivity.
I'm not sure. Because, like, I really don't understand, like, modern art or what's the one that they call it? Like, not spatial art, but essentially, like, someone will put, like, a tube out in a field and, like, poke some holes in it. You can walk in the tube, and suddenly you've got this piece of modern art that shows you different things at different times of the day. I don't understand that.
A wall?
Sometimes, like, they'll just put, like, a spiral, and you just walk in the spiral, but it's land art. I don't get that. To me, I don't see the purpose of it. It seems like a waste of space, but I wouldn't say that's an objective critique of it. Like, it still is art. It means something to somebody. These films, I don't know, like, they all take on different meanings. Like, for instance, what's the fucking one that they remade? The Room. So, like, they made The Making of The Room, but The Room has changed. Like, I think objectively we would say it's bad acting. The camera work is not well. The actual dialogue is not good. There's even parts of the audio that really suck. Like, all of a sudden, like, you just get voiceover that doesn't match the scene where it's like, all right, it's good to see you. Very nice. Goodbye. Like, it doesn't, like, really make sense. Like, all of these things are objectively bad. But when put together, it makes this hilarious piece of art that has become, it's transcended what was intended, and it has created this cult following. I think every bit of criteria that you put towards that is it's objectively bad. Yet it's art, and I think it's actually something way better than the parts of it. The sum of the whole is great.
Okay, I want to hear from Charles.
Go ahead.
Charles.
No, I want to hear from you. Put your food down and start talking.
No. Charles, I want you shaking your head. I want to hear your.
I was shaking my head at you dipping that square-shaped thing into your.
It's a Pop-Tart.
Is it a Pop-Tart?
So, okay, let me respond to Emperor Goodwin really quick. So he said that I'm conflating the audience reception. I'm not. But that is what art is. It isn't an objective thing. Like, you can look at something and say, this is objectively squares. That's really stupid art. But it is based off of the reception, whether or not it's considered good art or not. You don't, like, literally take, like, a ruler to every piece of art and say, like, this measures, like, the golden ratio, therefore this is perfect. Now, you can point out things like that and say, you know, these do elevate this particular piece for me. Here's reasons. It looks like they use the golden ratio in these different ways. Cool. You can objectively say that, but that doesn't mean that this isn't good art because it doesn't have that objective measurement in there. I think when I'm talking about The Room, it's not just the reception of it, but it's like what it is hilarious. When I'm just watching it, it's not everybody else who's watching it. It's literally my experience with it is this is so much better than it deserves to be. Every part of it is shit, yet it is a great experience. And if you get to watch it with an audience, it makes that experience so much more heightened. I don't know if you've been to, like, one of those midnight showings, but every part of that is subjective. It also could be the fact that I was wasted the first time I saw it and it just hit right. That is, again, subjective. It is art. I don't know if you can actually objectively criticize art.
So you're saying, is there value in it at all?
I think if you, like, movie reviews or something like that, I think there's ways that you could critique it, but to say like this is objectively a bad movie, it's like, yeah, but I think it is beyond that at this point. Like, again, I think a bunch of squares on a canvas or just a blank canvas is a stupid piece of art. I think, you know, a banana taped to the wall is a stupid piece of art. But at the same time, it does seem to be something that transcends the stupid elements of it, like just tape and a banana. So to me, it is not an objective thing.
I'm going to push
if
back
you were going to
on you.
measure that, that would be
But
a
I want
really
a yes
stupid piece
or
of
no
things. The sun tunnels, they would be a
Okay,
really
no, but-
stupid thing.
I've
What
had
I want to
much
know
say
is-
this whole time.
Okay, cool. But what I want to know from the panel, everyone, yes or no? Does objective criticism, as we've defined it here, have a place at all? Would you just completely
Yes.
take it out? Okay, so BMO, thank you for the answer because I just want a yes or no. Great.
I think there's a purpose to it. I think, again, you can point out a whole bunch of reasons, but I don't know if pointing out like, hey, the editing in the room is really bad, the audio in there is really bad, is going to actually change the individual experience. And that's what art is. It is an experience. So
But
I think
if
there's
you-
a place
but-
for it. I don't know that
Yeah.
it has great value. I think
Okay.
if you compared it to, hey, it's kind of like this thing, that might have more value. But I think a lot of the times we're preloading things with supposedly somewhat objective critiques, and I don't know that they're necessarily. I think it's kind of poisoning something. It is changing the experience that someone's having, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of things that we have brought up on this list that we're saying like you could objectively call this bad. I'm not sure that you could. I think art is just kind of a different thing. But I'm totally down to being wrong. I know Glente said that he had a bunch to say on this. I would love to hear.
I've tried.
Okay, wait. Keep
I
your
understand.
keep pinned. I still want Charles to say yes or no. If
Yes,
it has
of course.
a place.
Mute your asses.
Dorcas, and then Galente. Don't make me use my clip. I haven't used it, but I'd have thought about it. I must say.
I think yes.
Okay, Dorcas
Yeah,
at least
Charles.
jumped in. Yeah, okay, Dorcas, you said yes. Okay, Charles.
What was the definition?
Of
Thank you.
objective criticism that there are evaluation based on measurable standards, which I suppose would be agreed upon, such as technical execution, narrative coherence, achieving artistic intent, yes or no, those kind of things. Contrast with subjective criticism influenced by personal taste, cultural background, or emotional response. So objective criticism would probably be something that you've interacted with more, knowing more about film and how it's made. Yes? Like technically. Like literally film school, that
I've
kind
had
of thing.
Like power drilled into my skull
Exactly.
that art is subjective.
But you've had that power drilled into your head, but at the same time you also know about the technicalities that go into executing, right?
Sure, but kind of like what Gray was alluding. Don't tease me with the dollar sign.
Yeah, geez, Gray. I was like, where is it?
Someone could do something incorrectly for artistic effect,
Yes.
and then it immediately becomes subjective.
But are we going to assume every time there's something a questionable choice is made that it was done on purpose? I don't think I can get into that. Sometimes
No, the director would want you to.
people are incompetent. Sometimes you only, like in that episode of The Studio, sometimes you have a limited amount of time to get the shot and you just didn't make it. You got what you could and you're stuck with the result.
And you spit the best that you can at the end. But Galente, I'll let you get into it. I will let you guys know what I think after Galente.
So I think as proven by the past inputs put on this question, that we haven't agreed on what objective criticism even is. So I can't say that, yes, I agree with the definition here, or no, I disagree with the definition here, because I don't think that we have reached a benchmark of what that even is. And
Well, we can't because We can't because we don't agree whether it exists or not.
Well, see, here's the thing. What you were talking about earlier with the definition of what objective criticism is involves a standard, right?
Yes.
The prerequisite of making sure that our criticism using a standard is objective is that standard is agreed upon amongst the people who are talking about it.
Yes.
If that standard isn't agreed upon, then we don't have a standard. We just have different benchmarks based off of personal interpretation.
Yes.
Once we make that standard, then we can objectively assess.
Yes.
And that seems to be the thing that's lacking here with what we're talking about as objective criticism. And sorry to be the naysayer, it does seem like we spent a lot of the time where we were supposed to be talking about objective criticism, talking about what is subjective.
Because that is the contention. We're actually trying to figure out if the whole point of the think is objective criticism even a thing? Is it even possible? Okay.
But if we're going to lay down the standard of what objective criticism is, we need to be talking about what objective criticism is, not about what other things are. Right.
We are going to be the thing is we are going to use subjective and objective together because they are opposites, right? But one of the things that you've made, the reason I was smiling was because what has come to the fore is that we have to be a bit more nuanced with our definition of what objective criticism is, because it seems like those standards that are spoken about by media study people, because that's where this comes from. The philosophy of film and motion pictures is the source for it. That makes me go, oh, there is a expert, which obviously I'm really enjoying that kind of discussion at the moment, considering the debates that I'm going through at the moment. There are experts in the field of film, and they have standards. And when there is a sort of agreed upon standard there, that could be objective, because I'd be like, these people know about editing and things like that. They know that that's not that they would have a better idea of whether it's an accident or not. So Charles,
is there a perfect film
for certain people?
Back to the Future.
100%. Amen, brother.
I mean, if we're talking about that, the only way I can relate to that.
It is not perfect. Your cousin, Marvin Bear. That is not a perfect line. It is a funny joke, but not perfect.
What about Prestige?
Oh, don't get me started on a Prestige.
Okay.
I think the Pokemon animated movie is an objectively perfect movie.
My point being, objectively speaking, there's no perfect film.
No, I agree with you.
Even so, but there's discussion, right? So what I also want to
go ahead.
Okay. So
sorry, just a quick question. Is a continuity error a flaw?
Yes.
Yeah.
Charles Gray?
Unless the audience doesn't think it's a flaw.
If it's trying to make a commentary on life.
Yeah, that's a really shitty that's a shitty straw man of what I've said. I never said like a movie is great if an audience says it's great. But no, a continuity error, obviously you don't want that, but I don't think you objectively have a bad film just because there is a continuity error.
Sure.
I think it can definitely detract from that. I think it can definitely detract from like verisimilitude. I know, but I was answering, no, I don't think that. I think you can have a really good film, a near perfect film that still has a continuity error. Like if the water or whatever glass in front of them is changing volumes, but it's a really good scene. To me, that is not a flawed film that is objectively bad. I think, the continuity could be much better on there. I don't know how exactly you do that. I wouldn't be the continuity person.
Cool. And I don't disagree with that. But what about 2 continuity errors and then 3 and then like I don't know how to quantify
So
How many?
I think Jurassic Park
errors
is really
isn't-
cool.
Okay.
The original Jurassic Park, there is like this continuity error where the kids are in the Subaru. It literally changes like 5 times throughout one scene. To me, it doesn't take it out. To me, it's like, oh yeah, it's open. Like I didn't notice it on like the first like 5 or 6. I don't know how many watches of this. Yeah, I mean, like you could even go back to like Spartacus, where like some of the anyway, some of the Roman soldiers had like wristwatches and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're not really noticing it, yes, it's a continuity error, but I wouldn't say like even a number makes it, okay, this is objectively a bad film to me. It's shitty, but I think even that is like subjective. Like if it's really taking you out, subjectively, you're going to have a worse experience. I don't know that objectively, like because there's 30 soldiers wearing watches, that's 30 incidences of like continuity error. I don't know that objectively makes it a bad film.
Well, I want to highlight the distinction being made between the question of does a continuity error equate a flaw versus if there's a continuity error, it's objectively a bad film, because that's not at all what was being asked.
That's stupid. That's reductive.
Right?
Yeah, it's like, is it a flaw? Can we call it? Are there such things as objective flaws? That's the question. Is there such a thing as an objective flaw that we can say, that was a mistake? Which makes me believe that there's something that we could say is that is worth talking about. Where is it technically executed according to standards that are professional? I think that discussion still happens with all kinds of art.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, well, for me, what I want to say is that, okay, fine, I understand that subjective art is subjective, but I know that there is such a thing as like collective subjectivity that makes it feel like it's objective.
Sure.
Because there's something like expertise and things like that. Am I crazy for thinking about that? What do you think? I mean, Bima is saying sure, but I don't know if he's just being agreeable.
No, I actually agree with what you're saying.
Yes. Literally speaking, no.
Mm-hmm. Literally speaking, no. What? I'm not crazy. Or...
If a group of you agree that something is good, objectively to the group, sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that I would say that it is true subjectively to the group that they think it's good. Just because the group thinks that it's good doesn't mean that it's factual, right? But you can notice the phenomena of the general consensus being treated as objective truth, while also acknowledging the fact that it may not line up with what is actually real.
Yeah, I like the while. The while works. That doesn't have to be either or. I honestly think it doesn't have to be either or. You don't have to decide that there is no such thing. I think literally when reviewers say this is objectively bad, it's just a way of them saying it is so bad. That's all they're really saying.
It's a subjective claim most of the time.
Yeah, it's always a subjective claim because guess what? We all live in subjectivity because that's literally how our brains work. We have our own standards. We have our own realities. We have shared standards. We have shared standards and things that go and overlap, of course. But if we really want to go all the way down to it and break reality, then we'll think my truth is the only thing that matters.
Yeah,
then what are we talking about? What's the point of ever interacting with each other?
My truth says that your truth is gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Going off of that point, if we are acknowledging the fact that all of us experience reality through our own subjective lens, right? Because that's just the nature of being a brain inside of a body and looking through eyes, hearing through ears, right? Then if we're going to label as everything as being a subjective take, then literally everything is a subjective take. It's not a descriptor. It's literally the same thing as everything else.
We don't need it.
Move past that and get down to details that we can actually verify?
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
That'd be dope.
Okay, so details we can verify about what is are they objective things. I have a question.
Okay, go with your question first.
Okay, what? Ooh. Thank you, Ilario.
Ilario.
God damn.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Good Lord. A lot of people are getting notifications and going, who the hell is that Don Kitty? I don't remember subscribing to her. So welcome, people that are getting their notifications. Some people get they're like, how did it was Forful? Okay, Forful, at least we know something Forful. He's been on the show before, but he's like, how did I get here? He went to my members only post the other day. And he's like, how am I here? Because Shippy went mad with the thing. But thank you so much for that. Welcome.
Sure, that's awesome.
So
Yeah.
Maybe it is a difference. Like I think like if you're critiquing something, I think you could objectively say like a bunch of facts of it, like like 35 millimeter was used. They used this type of lens for this type of shot. But I don't know. I think the experience that you have off of it, like because it's art, for me, it would be inherently subjective. But I think there's a lot of times where there's something slightly out of focus. Like if you. Sorry, I just looked at that comment about Sucker Punch. It always makes me laugh. But I don't know. I really don't care for a lot of Snyder's work, but I don't know that it's objectively bad, which really sucks. Like there's some beautiful shots in Sucker Punch. That's about the nicest I can be to it. There's some really pretty, there's some fun costumes in there too.
There are a lot of other things that we can highlight as objective things that happen in a film, other than just what film it was shot on.
Yeah, for sure. But I think if you're getting to something like
we can highlight the fact that a character did a thing, and if it's shown on screen, then it's objective that they did that thing.
I don't know that that's true because you can have the whole unreliable protagonist where they can literally be lying. So if like Big Fish or whatever, like
at any instance in any movie has that being a fail safe behind it, then why am I taking?
I think you could objectively say that this was shown, but I don't think you can objectively say like this happened. But like, yes, we saw this on the screen. Like that would be objective.
We're literally arguing whether or not something that's shown on screen in a movie, like
Fight Club, for instance. Like, did we objectively see two people fight each other?
No, but we were also given context to be able to contextualize what was happening on screen.
Yeah, and if we're given that, then I totally would say, again, like, no, I can't agree that what we saw on screen objectively happened. Right, because, what if again, you could have the unreliable narrator.
But what if we're not given the context for that sort of thing? What if...
then we objectively saw that on screen.
Yeah. And if there's nothing to tell us that, I'm sorry, Kitty, if there's nothing to tell us that we actually should or should not take this seriously, what is the audience member to do other than to take it at face value that this thing that's being showed to them is happening?
I mean, there's a bunch of different ways. So there's a lot of very straightforward things that are seen as symbolic, like it is art. So people can definitely take a very straightforward scene as, that was a metaphor, or that is this trope, and I'm getting this meaning out of it. I don't know that I necessarily do, but sometimes it's fun to hear people's interpretations of it. I don't know that their interpretation of what we saw on screen is the correct one. But when you talk to a lot of the directors, oftentimes, if they leave something ambiguous, they say the interpretation's up to the audience. But I don't know that we can objectively judge what happened or is implied on there if literally it's meant to be ambiguous. So I don't know that we can always objectively say what we saw is what is supposed to happen. Sometimes it is metaphorical, sometimes it's symbolic.
In the Star Wars original trilogy, when Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi threw down his lightsaber instead of killing Darth Vader, can I not say that objectively he threw down his lightsaber?
So you definitely can say that we objectively saw that. But I mean, did he cut off his own head when he was inside the cave?
No.
We objectively saw that too.
We were given
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yes, but we were given a lot of context around that to make it seem like it was a mysticism event. And none of that context was given for the final.
If you look at TLJ, though, there's like the Force, like this new Luke power that he can show up on there. I'm just saying, like, we objectively saw that, but it wasn't there. It was a projection. We were given context later, but during that moment, you're supposed to think that this is that.
I just feel like
that's why I'm saying, like, well, I would definitely agree with you that we objectively saw it. And unless there's a reason to interpret it a different way, I think you'd be right to interpret it as what we saw is probably what happened. But it's art, so sometimes there is symbolism and there is subjectivity in what we're actually seeing and what is actually supposed to be perceived.
Can I ask you guys, what are you arguing about? What do you disagree?
Essentially, like if something happens on screen, can we objectively say that it happened? I think we can objectively say that I've seen it on the screen, but again, like Fight Club, like
I feel like I'm trying to be very precise about it. I feel like I'm getting obtuse answers. That's where I feel like my side of the argument is coming from.
Okay, because you guys are now talking about objective truths as opposed to objective criticisms. You're talking about because and that's where
he was trying to come up with, can we agree? So he was trying to add a list to that. So like we can agree like what medium it's on, what is being used to capture this. He tried to say, could we agree that what we see on film is what happens? And that's where I said I can't agree that much, because it can be a subjective thing that is open for interpretation. It can also be symbolic, but I can agree that we saw that thing on screen. Objectively, we saw that.
Okay.
I'm just saying I don't agree that we could objectively say that everything we see on screen happened.
Okay. So yeah, that's then subjective reality coming to bite us in the ass.
Something is.
Fair enough.
Okay. So what are then let's see if are there merits in any of these. Is there a merit in having any kind of, okay, so we've decided we know that objectivity doesn't really exist, okay? But what about a common framework for like film studies and things like that? Okay.
Yes.
Technical analysis.
I wanted to cover.
Okay, go, Bimo.
So, okay, I'm going to bring up. So there is a filmmaker's handbook, basically. There are fundamentals that people use. I know Charles has a book that is basically seen as the Bible for filmmaking. And that is used specifically as an objective measure to weigh against your films. To see, are you doing it in the way that is most palatable to an audience? And
effective, or like, okay, effective
in
is
the art
subjective.
world. I'll actually use the Loomis method as an example of making a head. Okay, that is an objective, fundamental. This will objectively make your head more pleasing to look at.
Please make my head more pleasing to look at. The art of technique.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, that's what I'm saying. Those things exist. And what I'm saying, sorry, before you get into it, Gray, before you butt me, what I'm saying is that is a form of collective consensus. Okay?
Yes.
That is
Collective
expertise.
wisdom.
That is expertise. That is people have taken their subjectivity. They have a
empirical
framework. They have a way to look at things. Okay?
We get
there
it,
you
Charles.
go.
You own books.
They
I don't
look
read them.
amazing. But that's what I'm saying. That, and I don't know. Like I said, I'm sorry. I'm just relating it to expertise and an expert opinion and all of that. That is what I'm talking about when I say objective criticism. Is when somebody who has studied it, who knows techniques and things, can look at it. They actually, I think I've asked you guys these things before, where I'm like, you watch this. I think I did it with Strange Darling. You watch this with a more critical eye than I can because you know more about film. That's what I mean by objective. And I know that, there is literally no such thing as objective. But if we're just heightening, we're separating it from subjectivity. As in, when we talk about something objective, we're talking about something that is not subjective completely. So I'm talking about collection, right? So what do we do with this? What do we do with BMO saying there is technique, and what do we do with those textbooks, Gray? You said a but. Go butt me.
Yeah, I just said, there are techniques. However, you can do all of those. Like a Hallmark movie uses a lot of really, standard techniques that are pleasing to everybody. I don't know that you'd say that they're objectively good. They're pretty objectively meh. But some really cutting edge things that kind of break the rules that are in a lot of those books. Like you're never supposed to. There's a shitload of rules that they should make for it less pleasing by any means. Like what's the rule of? Oh God damn it! I'm forgetting.
180 rule.
Yeah, the 180 rule, cool. Also, the rule of thirds. Like, there's a bunch of different rules that are supposed to add to make something better. But just because they don't do that doesn't mean that it's objectively not good art or isn't effective for getting that feeling. Like a lot of Dutch angles, they're supposed to give you an off feeling, but objectively, even then, it's trying to evoke a feeling. It's very weird to try and say like objectively you did evoke this in a certain amount.
I
of the
mostly
audience.
agree with you here. Actually, we can probably find some common ground here. The thing is that there are still fundamentals of filmmaking being used that you could say are objectively used to make a palatable movie.
Can we swap the word objective and put in, I don't know, something like academic?
Yeah, academic.
Because I would totally agree with that.
Right.
But you would agree with
so
that?
it's the same definition, just a different word on top of it?
An expert speaking from authority.
Yeah, I would say it is not objective, but if you're going to say like this is textbook a good movie, yes. Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that are that, but they don't.
I think they
don't subjectively affect me in any way, so I wouldn't say it's a great movie.
Sure. Okay.
I don't think it would be on anyone's list, but a lot of the Hallmark ones, for instance, they hit a lot of those textbook things. Like you can see what's in frame. The audio is pretty good on it, but to me, it's not a great film.
Wouldn't that just be a script issue rather than the actual shooting of the film?
The script is part of filmmaking.
I know it's part, but it's like we're trying to get through this mire that has been this subjectivity part of this. I'm trying to establish where the objectivity is, and you're agreeing with academia being a measure for objectivity, even though you don't want to use the word.
Yeah, because
it wouldn't be objective. Yes. I would say this
because
it meets those standards, but
I feel like
subjectively,
the reason we've jumped to the word academic and textbook and the word, it seems like the reason you're more comfortable with that is because it actually holds all the nuance of that. It's not really objective. Like if we think about it too hard, it's not really objective, but you understand that such standards, formal standards, expert standards exist, and you're allowing them to exist as long as we call them that. It feels better for you to do that than call it objectivity.
Well, I just feel like it's not an objective thing. Like there's still a good movie that breaks a lot of those standard rules or isn't academically a great movie, but I don't know. So it is a subjective thing, but it's like Clerks really shouldn't work. The audio on it sucks in a lot of places. The video looks like trash, but somehow it connected with a lot of people. I think by textbook, it's not a great movie, but a lot of people read into it, and I think subjectively it made it a much better movie. I like it, but I don't think by any measurement of textbook, framing, camera movement, I don't think there's anything that you would say this is a great textbook academic example of a great movie.
Do you know of a film that doesn't follow any of those filmmaking rules and is still a good film?
Tokyo Story.
I don't know what this is. Could you explain it to me?
They break the 180 rule on purpose.
Okay, but that's one. I'm saying it doesn't follow any of the rules.
So there's for as broad a few like surrealist films that I think are quite amazing. The French have a couple ones like well, Freddy Got Fingered objectively is amazing. It's some of Rip Torn's best work. I think it's Cigarettes Cause Coughing is this like kind of amazing surreal film. They often break the 180 rule, and then wait, was it his other film? Now I'm blanking. There's very surreal films really break a lot of the rules, and then for storytelling as well. But I think objectively they're really amazing films.
You think objectively they're amazing films?
I think so.
If we that's because we've pushed Gray into using that word.
Well, no. Like he agreed to saying academically, right? Like
and they don't pass that standard.
Up until
but now. I mean, people call them artistic masterpieces. So I just use objective to be an ass. I would say subjectively they're great works of art. I just thought it would be fun to get a rise if I said objectively.
That's objectively a bad joke, Greg.
Fair enough. I will take that criticism. Subjectively, I think it's fun.
To me, it seems that it's always context dependent. You really always have to. It becomes always context dependent, and then guess what? That becomes subjective. So. I think subjectivity
Bingo.
wins,
I don't
but
know.
at the same time, that doesn't mean objectivity, as in the false objectivity, that collective consensus, expertise, all of that. That doesn't mean that isn't valuable. It has a place.
Sure.
Can we all agree on that?
Well, like nothing that Gray was saying about the subjectivity was like I wasn't meaning to like completely put it by the side. I just don't think that it's a good argument in the way that you're not explaining away objectivity. I think objectivity still is something that exists within art as a medium through filmmaking or anything. That's why I brought up the fundamentals. And even though there may be arguments over whether those are
have you seen
or not,
Poor Things? So Poor Things breaks a lot of those. Okay. I was going to say it breaks a lot of the rules, and then it uses random lenses for no reason. The director even said, like, when he couldn't figure out how to get out of a scene, all of a sudden he'd go to this weird porthole lens. I think by many of the objective standards, it wouldn't be a good quality film, but man, it won a bunch of awards. People are praising the artistic vision behind it. Sure. I think subjectively there is value beyond what is in this textbook. So I'd say like that isn't an objective ranking of it. I think there's even that, like, it's tough to say that is objectively a horrible film. I think objectively the box office is extremely low, and I think people have a consensus that essentially Coppola wasted a lot of money on it, but he had this artistic vision,
not reading the book.
He's saying that it achieved his artistic vision. So there's a lot of the rules that it actually hits. There's a lot of the rules that, like, as far as the textbook or academic, that movie hits. To me, it was a struggle to get through it. I really tried to get through it a second time, and I think I only got like 2/3 of the way through it. So I don't know, man. I wouldn't say it's objectively a bad movie, but for me, I have a subjectively horrible experience when I'm trying to watch it.
Okay.
I find it interesting that when BMO is trying to highlight that there are these rules that can be followed to reliably create a good film, and he asked if there was an example of a film that broke all of them and was still a good film. We moved on to an example of this film that broke the 180 room, and in defense of what Gray said, many other conventions of filmmaking, right? And it did seem like what BMO was trying to highlight earlier was the fact that by highlighting that there is subjectivity, it doesn't disprove objectivity. And in response to that, it was like, yeah, but this is subjectively pleasing to some people, though, which is like, yeah, the point wasn't addressed. Like, I was highlighting that things can be subjectively enjoyed, but there's also still an objective criticism that can be made separate from that.
I did offer one that breaks a ton of rules. It's Smoking Causes Coughing. It's, again, a really surreal film. So it's like the story isn't necessarily, like 100%. I wouldn't call it like a continuous. Well, there is some continuity to it. It's very strange. It's an odd movie, but it breaks a lot of the 180 rules. And then it just narratively, it is kind of a broken story. It involves these government agents that are also kind of like Power Rangers, but they're powered by cigarettes. And like the chief is this weird rat-like smoking creature. Artistically, it is. I don't think I could objectively say like this is a horrible flick. It has some of the rules in there. Like, you can make out what's on the frame, but I think if you objectively judge the story, it would be a really bad story. I think if you looked at a lot of the continuity in it, it's completely off. Fair enough. And Stifkins is pointing out that it's part of an anthology. I can't remember if I'm thinking Smoking Causes Coughing or if it's the other one, but man, that dude, Quentin Dupré, awesome filmmaker. He really makes these weird, surreal films that do kind of break a lot of the rules in it. I wouldn't say that they're objectively bad movies, is like my one contention with it. It's not textbook a good movie. It wouldn't pass a bunch of those rules.
But that's it. Over the course of time, there hasn't been a movie that has broken all of the rules and been considered objectively good, but it happens. Citizen Kane did a bunch of shit, like putting ceilings in shots. It was one of the first movies to have ceilings in shots. Like there are things that people just what?
They could afford it. No, I'm joking. Ignore me.
There are things that like you don't discover that you can do them until someone does it effectively. Like breaking the fourth wall is something that was just kind of frowned upon.
Sure, but breaking a rule speaks to a firm understanding of what those rules are. You need to learn to walk before you can run, right? And to be able to break a rule effectively, you have to have a certain degree of mastery over the norms.
Yeah. So
sometimes you get like a gummo.
In 1941, someone could say Citizen Kane is awful because objectively they're showing the ceiling. And it's accepted now.
That changes. Yes, that changes over time. Because of people breaking rules and then making things okay, depending on the reception. So these things feed into each other, is what you're saying, Charles, that it became acceptable, but if you go back there, it wasn't. It was bad, objectively. In the objective standard of the day. So to apply what we've discussed, let's look at this, okay? In terms of, look, I didn't make a diagram, so there you go. In terms of, of adolescence, right? So this is kind of what objective critique and versus subjective critique. I understand we don't have to rehash the thing that there is no such thing as objectivity. We've understood that there is some kind of objectivity, okay? Textbook, okay? So we don't need to rehash that. But do you see the difference between the two things? So like objective critique, do you see that it's the aspect it's talking about technique? So like that's a technique, that's an objective technique. It exists.
Yes, and
it's an object.
So I was saying, like, I think we can definitely do that, but the thematic focus, I think people can read themes into things that perhaps aren't always there. So I'm not sure if that can be objective. Like you can hear what the author intended, but is that what the audience like receives? I don't know that it is objective, but I might be nitpicking on that. Like I can objectively say that, yes, there was this narrative that was attempted.
We have words for that phenomenon called death of the author.
If the author does not communicate what they intended to communicate, would that be a bad thing?
Yeah, that I would think that makes it ineffective. The intent is important, isn't it?
There are some creators that will say, well, what do you think it means?
Yeah,
and
almost anybody who has anything.
Charles? Is that a cop-out? Is that an easy, convenient thing to say as a creator? Just be like, oh, what do you think?
I don't know. Like,
leave it up to interpretation. It makes
if someone realizes they fucked up, it's a true, not true, cop-out of sorts. But some people do put ambiguous shit, and they just want to see what they're just like cinematically trolling people. So
if it's well thought out, then
it's people like Andrew that those directors look for.
Sometimes it's a cop out, sometimes it isn't. Says Dildo. Yeah, it seems like that's what we get with the show. It's sometimes this, sometimes that. We never get real answers that are concrete because guess what? I guess objectivity doesn't really exist.
Oh, I don't think I proved that or anything, but yeah. Fair enough. I understand that I might not have the same opinion as everybody else, but I don't know. I just think with art, it is about feeling. I think a lot of time it is subjective. Like
I'm not a big fan of Death of the Author, though.
But I think the whole can be different than the sum of the parts. Like you can definitely objectively critique the parts. Like it's on this material, it's made from this medium. But I think what is the end result is its own thing. And I don't know if I can objectively say something sucks just because I don't like it. I don't know. There's often flawed things that are meaningful to some. And I think that's what art is.
I'm getting it. I have a different phrasing of a question for you, which is kind of our framing last question that I want to go into. Should we strive for objectivity? Striving towards objectively good, is it worthwhile? Or is embracing subjectivity completely? Does
Neither.
it serve audience more?
No, I think both are important.
Same.
I think that we need to be able to embrace objectivity to be able to create point-to-point consequence, like action creating consequence that makes us invested in what is actually happening. I know this may seem super reductive, but on a temporal aspect, if one thing doesn't lead to another cleanly, then it creates cognitive dissonance.
No coherence.
Right. However, the subjective experience that somebody gets is what they're there for. And if there's no artistic expression put into it, at best, you can kind of just hope that it's going to be bland. So, like, you need to have both.
So I think what we've concluded is objective criticism is a myth, but we still it's still functional.
Man, I wish we had Andrew.
I'm gonna fucking oh my god!
Oh brother!
I'm gonna commit Sudoku. I swear.
Sudoku. Yeah, why did you say? Why are you so? Why did that hurt so much?
Because I feel like objectivity gets cast to the side. So
when you call it a myth. When you call it a myth.
Well,
when I say it's a myth, I'm saying it's not true.
Right. Well, either that it's a myth or that it's unattainable. I feel like that's selling the human species short. We can get there. We can address these things. We can also then take into how we feel about the things on top.
I'm just going to appeal to self-evidence. Some things are objectively true.
Why can't AI view art objectively? Why can't AI replicate pictures objectively the same?
Because it requires a human nuance to be able to do so in the same way that we consider continuity.
So wouldn't nuance be
objective?
Thank you. If it's nuance
to the human experience, yes.
So I see where you're going with this. Image to image generation is purposely trying to make a similar but different image. But you can do image to image perfect recreation. Like it totally does that.
What, like copy paste?
You can straight up just copy paste.
So wait, if you focus on the subjectivity only, it will make you target a certain audience. Then you will target an audience that furthers your goals: money, politics, some agenda. So yeah, I guess if you're only going for subjectivity, you are limiting a certain subjective group is going to enjoy it. Okay,
rich people.
I'm sorry. I thought I was wrapping up, but I do want to ask: does the box office give us an objective measure of this? Yeah,
well,
is it an objective
do you think
measure?
Minecraft movie is objectively a good movie? I think we could objectively say it made a shitload of money.
Yes, we can.
The math is objective. Like the number amount is objective. That's the number.
Success.
It is objectively successful. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it quality art?
It's math.
That's a different question.
Yeah, the box office, that's math. Like,
right.
It's just math.
Box office.
We don't have to get a whole lot more complicated than that.
I mean, if we're talking about adolescence, there's people. It's caused a stir, but it's one of the top viewed shows ever on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like when things get close, the caveat could be, well, versus the budget, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, like because that is the whole point.
Hella money.
That's the whole point, that anything is created by Hollywood is not just for creative expression, whatever. It's like, no, did it make money though?
Look at Transformers.
New Transformers, did it make money? Transformers 1?
Almost every Transformers movie has made so much more than its budget. It is insane.
Even the dinosaur one?
The shit that people that aren't speaking English tend to soak up, like Fast and the Furious. is very, very successful. Godzilla, very successful.
Hey, Miss
Is-
Sparkles.
And I'll
People
tell you,
don't-
Hey, Sparkles.
Fast 9 is one
Hello.
of those objectively awful movies that I enjoyed the absolute shit out of. It was so much fun,
Family.
but it was because it
Family.
knew it was garbage.
Family.
Objectively,
Yeah,
it could have used more flexing out
contextually-
of casts.
More electromagnets.
It objectively made me talk to my son about its content. If that's what's the goal, it succeeded. There you go. But yeah, if
Family.
you're not going to define the goal, then that's what's fun. It's just if you never establish a standard, you're always winning.
Family.
Winning. Like Charlie Sheen.
Mhm.
Hashtag
Do you
win.
guys have anything more to say, Dorcas? You've been pretty quiet. Can I give you the floor?
I've seen a lot of very, very, very low budget films. I have been in a handful of them.
Mhm.
There is an objectively bad movie out there. No, I don't think you can quantify a universal metric by which you can say you can apply all movies
Mhm.
and say this is bad, this is good. I do think that movies can have flaws, objective flaws, and each flaw should be considered on its own degree of merit, but and you get someone who is trying to be unbiased in critiquing a film can cite those flaws. I don't know if you can achieve true objectivity, but I think it's something you can try to strive for. And I do think that there are industry norms that you generally want to strive for. I do think that artists don't always communicate what they intend to, and I don't think that any of that should take away from anyone's subjective enjoyment of a film. It's there's no one yes or no answer. It's a multifaceted conversation. It's a multifaceted topic with many different lenses you can view things through. That is my statement.
Dorcas has
Statement of
just said
appreciation.
that CinemaSins is objectively a channel.
It's a channel. It's an channel. Yeah,
Is a
lot of
channel
it-
of all time.
I still subscribe to it.
Yeah, me too.
I actually, my favorite use of CinemaSins is when I watch a horror movie, because it often points out the flaws in like how you could survive. Actually, how the movie's executed. It's like, yeah, but that's not actually scary because you could do this. Like a lot of the time.
Then he says it's a bad thing that there's narration in a film. Like it's just like if you're taking it seriously, you've lost.
Yeah, no, you can't. If that is your standard, if that's your objective standard, I guess you're a media normie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess he counts.
media normie, because a media normie will take a big channel and say that's they know more than me, so I'll take their standards and use them as my own.
Ooh.
Man.
Are we ready for some garlic phone? Great. Bimo, will you be able to sit with us?
I'm gonna have to go.
Mm.
I've
So
run
does
out of time a
Galente.
little bit. But
Double
Sure.
more.
I do want to say I really want to have this conversation either off channel or at a different time so we can have a longer conversation about this objectivity and subjectivity, because I don't think we got anywhere personally.
Really?
So we
Yeah.
can take longer to get nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like we got it all out. What makes you
More
feel?
specifically? I think I would just want to argue with Gray. I think that's the true point that I want to make. I just want to argue with Gray.
Do you want to argue about certain examples? Because it seems like that's where everybody started getting into the weeds as well.
I am not a believer in all things are subjective, and it feels like Gray is more towards that than I am.
Hippie. Yeah.
Am I off?
All things
Gray?
aren't
Please correct me.
subjective.
All things are subjective because
Well, all art
everything
being
is
subjective is
interpreted in
something
your
that you guys did
brain.
say today.
Art is subjective. You said all things being subjective.
You're right, but even in the realm of art, I do not hold that opinion. I think that not all art is subjective. I think there's an objective.
What art is not subjective?
Okay, hold up.
Tell me.
Hold up. Can I please give an addendum before I leave to see if this might clarify a little bit?
Sure. Bimo, you've got time to think. What art is not subjective?
Okay, Galente.
I think that what Bimo may have meant to say, if I'm a mind reader here, is that all art has elements to it that are objective. That does not mean that any art is void of things that are subjective.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's an accurate description of what was intended to be said. And so saying that no art is subjective or all art is objective is an easily misconstrued and easy to argue against example. It's a straw man, essentially. However, I've had much to drink tonight. I have to wake up in 4 hours.
Oh my God, go to sleep.
Before I go and build cabinets tomorrow.
Woohoo! Build things, be a man.
Yay.
That's a euphemism for sex, by the way.
Okay.
You know, I will be spraying a lot of boxes, but it's not in any way that you would assume.
Get out! Gee, that was very well done.
I couldn't help myself. But yeah,
fantastic.
I love you guys. Genuinely.
Love you too, Galente. Have a good day. Good night.
Have a good nap, Galente.
I think that was subjectively hilarious, Galente.
That's a good description of that. And thank you, Greg. Yeah, I will nap away for an hour or so. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You have a good one. So I will point to specifically things like the Notre Dame Chapel. You could go to the Sistine Chapel. You could go to Taj Mahal.
Yeah, that's religious art.
Oh, not just religious art. Oh, sure, that's a subjective claim. That's for sure.
No, he said it's objectively boring. He used the word.
It's wonderful. I think that even the harshest critic knows that those are objectively good works of art. That's why they're seen as wonders of the world.
Technically proficient?
Very much so. They actually use all of the fundamentals that I was harking back to earlier in the stream. That's why they have an objective quality about them.
Yes,
I don't know
that is the consensus that I'm talking about.
I think there are some who would probably find it off-putting. I don't know. So if we're just going with consensus, yeah, I think we would all say this meets every standard of, you know, what is seen as beautiful art. Sure. But where art is subjective, like you can also just have that asshole who's on the internet who's going to write a review of it and say like, worst thing ever, the cherubs were completely out of proportion. Can you believe that they chose like this many of them? They're going to find some issue with it. So I don't know if we can say like objectively, like regardless of who sees this, it is going to be seen as high art. I think, yes, if we're going to go off consensus, like, yeah, it meets every criteria of it. Sure. Great. When I hear objective, I think it would be nobody can object to this. It is definitive. And I don't know if there's anything like that.
I don't think that's what that necessarily means, though. I think this is why I want to argue with you about it some more.
I think it's again subjective, but we'll
guys, go back to our go and have a you two actually. Bimo, go and listen to our artsy film. We've done discussions about art itself.
I know
before, and we've had the same arguments. That doesn't mean anyone's going to agree, which it's fun. We can have an argument. You know what I have been thinking, guys? Let me just propose it to you right now. I could have done this backstage and not put you on the spot, but where's the fun in that? I was wondering if because what I want to do is moderate debates, right? And become a good moderator, right? So I was wondering if there's debates you guys would like to have that I could then moderate for you guys. Because it seems like there's lots of things that you guys disagree with. I'm not debating any of you. but I want you guys to debate.
Why not?
Because I'm not a master debater. I don't do that.
No, I still want to argue with you about slurs.
Are the best Pop-Tart.
Which Pop-Tart?
Cinnamon Pop-Tarts are the best.
Oh, they don't have that. I've only got the strawberry one and the cookies and cream. And
Poison Pop-Tarts.
Those are objectively bad.
Okay, well, I enjoyed the Oreo. But yes, so that what I'm just keep that in mind, guys, and look out for that. Yeah. Maybe in future thinks we do a debate thing.
Totally down for doing a debate. Or even bringing people on for debates. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Debate. That, like, of course, there needs to be good faith. Like,
well, that's where I'm supposed to come in. Is identify who's being good faith. And then you can also judge me on my moderating skills. So
objectively bad.
I need you see, I need to practice. So it seems like there is a wealth of examples for me to do.
None of my intent is to make blood sports out of this. I think that there's more that we could get out of this conversation.
See, so subjectively speaking.
Yeah.
Be the asshole detector? Yeah, okay, I can do that. Hey, you're being an asshole. I will mute your asses.
That doesn't mute my mouth, though.
That being said,
ew.
Okay, Charles, I would like to hear from Charles.
Hold on.
I will
mute all of your fucking asses.
I just love that I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything at that point, and you were like, "Shut the fuck up." Oh man.
Well, there you go. That is a way to get us into Gartic. Are you going to be here for Gartic, Bimo?
You should.
No, I should bow out.
You should what, Charles?
Tired.
I would. You end with a close-up of you on that clip. I would alter the footage. Don't zoom in. Have it be on you from the
to make it objectively better.
And just have something that pops so that if people are watching and it just so happens that the same people are on the screen, it doesn't jump. Like if you make the color something different that you like, it's like a jump scare of sorts. So everyone's like, this is different
animation. Playing now. Yeah, so I shouldn't start with the whole thing. I should just have are you saying I should just have my block, basically?
Your block and something to differentiate that from like something alive.
Okay. Like what would you do with that?
Or something just like fucking fury, fire, and no, I don't know.
No, I really see that's just that I want to hear those things because I was just very excited I could do the little dynamic zoom. Look at me, woohoo! So yeah, I appreciate the guidance. Thank you, Charles.
I'm objectively a bad filmmaker, so don't take my shit on it.
That's not true. You're wearing a filmmaker's hat. You shut your mouth.
I'm wearing an old man's hat.
Exactly.
So, guys, Bimo is on his way out. Yes. When are you streaming next, Bimo?
So I'm going to be streaming with Cinevere on Sunday. Sounds like we're going to be playing Elden Ring.
There's going to be so many sexy things happening.
Oh, for sure. But I think I might be streaming Saturday. We'll see. But if you see this, you'll probably see like a broadcast on my channel where it's like it'll say it's starting on Saturday if it is. But I am 1 subscriber away from 40 subscribers and 10 away and 11 away from 50 subscribers. So you guys should subscribe to me.
You should.
I draw and I play games. What more do you want? Anyways, I'm going to.
But guess what?
You know, I could
got those.
I could put big bazongas on this little figure that is moving around like a chihuahua.
No, we don't want that. No. Unless they're as dynamic as Cinevia's boobas,
I don't think I
Yeah.
could do that unless I was paid to do that.
That
I was actually told to just like copy her model completely. Just stream with that.
Yeah, that's
Like-
that's theft.
You
Anyways,
could grab her model and then add extra physics to it. Then it's not theft. I mean,
It's what? It's
art.
homage. It's
homage,
Yeah.
yeah. Attributes on her own streams as I'm streaming with her. Of course, yes, that's a great time to do
Be
so.
great.
just cuts her
Like double
hair.
advertising.
Yeah. Change her outfit.
Quadruple advertising, technically.
Mm.
Anyways, you guys have a great
See you
rest of
guys.
your night. All right.
You will be mad.
Who wants to share their screen so that we can see? Oh, thank you for the sub, Eric Root. Thanks for fair use parody. Yeah, you'll be a parody. Eric, thanks for the sub. I hope to see you at our next think as well. You have been very valuable to us in this discussion. Really appreciate it. Oh, I have to work.
Money.
There you go, Dorcas. I have to work in 6 hours. Sending love. Good night. Good night. Yes, Daisy.
Do me a favor and hold that up so I can see
Good
your
night,
cock.
Lucifer. Oh.
Daisy, come. Okay.
Kale.
So who do we want? Does anyone want to show? I think Gray, considering how beautiful
Gray
his
is-
look how cute he is. He's so cute, objectively. I feel like he needs to share his screen. Oh wait, no, but his computer doesn't like it. Never mind. Usually when he draws, yeah.
It gets funky.
You know what I should do? And we'll have a poll. Dorcas is doing it. Yay! Okay, so next week we'll have a poll for who's got to share, who gets to who has to share their screen during what's the name, Garlic Phone, and
Deal.
then by the end of the show, you get it right.
That sounds fun.
Please remind me. I'm gonna have to put it in the
Okay.
little book. Okay, let us put our garlic background on. There we go, and our music. Guys, the link is in chat if you want to join us. Let's put. Where are you? There you go. Can you guys hear it? Is it loud? Is it fun?
It's good. We're
fine.
feeding the ducks.
Feed them ducks. Okay, I mean, it's only us in here. There's no one from the audience. Come on, you shits.
The link
Come
is
on,
in there.
people.
Join us.
I did. Yeah,
There was a link before.
Oh, yeah.
Join. Do art. It'll be fun.
I'm gonna spam your shit. I don't even
Whoa.
know if anyone's on.
Alariel.
I don't know if anyone's on Twitch. So there's some Twitch stuff. I'm traumatized.
Cinevere's fish.
Come on, guys. You can make really funny references. I mean, I think actually we don't need the audience.
If there's
You guys are
only
funny enough.
4 of us, we could do
Hey, we
Oh,
got
yeah.
some
corpse. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah.
Not-
Objectively a bad artist. Same, but I've got a drawing pad. I'm cheating.
cheater.
But that's where the fun is.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
all
most
just,
of us.
Mhm.
I was gonna
most
say
of
most of us don't consider ourselves professionals, even if we've got some advanced equipment. But
I mean,
I've just got a mouse. It sucks.
and you've got the whole getup.
Well,
I
I mean,
mean-
yes, I have a palette, but
Dress
come
for the
on,
job
who doesn't
you
have
want.
a Charles hat?
Not
Yeah.
the job you have.
Oh, finally, my mom's joining.
Hey.
Nice.
I love you, Mama.
I've missed you.
Guys, we're all siblings now because it's all our mom. Bambi.
Objectively.
Interesting.
Subjectively, it's my mom.
True. It's based off of your feeling.
True. True. Are we gonna do normal? What do you guys want to do? Is it fun?
Why is there
Uh,
an onion by the garlic phone?
Because onions are garlicky. Garlic also looks kind of oniony.
And it's
Why are you
AI
judging the AI?
It was AI. Okay, fine. Fine. You
Objective
need to
Just notice a little peanut down there at the
There you
bottom, but it's onion.
there.
Dumb
I think normal's
computer.
Then
fine.
we have a duck there because it's put feeding the ducks. It's a garlic duck. Garlic duck. Yeah. So
Well, yeah.
okay, onion. Yeah, it's onions and garlic. Aren't they in the same sort of school?
You put them both on a burger.
I think
guess,
so.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, last call to join while we slowly select one of the
Last call for alcohol.
presets.
Are we
Normal.
gonna do normal? Yeah, normal can be fun. Everybody, get out your
Eventually-
war books.
Yeah. Eventually, we should do knockoff and animation again at some point. Not tonight, but in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? We can also do
You gotta-
another poll during the stream.
Knockoff is where you get less and less time to draw.
Buh. My nightmare.
Yeah. You got to recreate. It's fun.
Okay, that's another thing we'll have to do like throughout the show, just to prepare people. Be like, okay, for which presets are we going to use? Who's going to share screen? It's just an interactive part of Thinkers. But right now, let's just do normal because
Deal.
it's normal. Yeah.
No pressure.
Everybody, look away from Dorcas's screen except for the people that are viewers. Mm. Oh, I missed it. Sorry.
You've got bit
Come on.
less
How
than
did you
half
miss the
your
horn
time.
cue? Well,
Right.
if you want to get
You're
technical,
slipping.
it's about a quarter of your time.
A quarter of your time is left.
Alliums.
So much time. Ah,
I
Uh-oh.
don't know who
I
this
think we might
person
have had a
is.
theme.
Should I know who this person is? Okay.
Well, that's about a
I
sixth of
feel
your
like
time.
I should.
Ah, you
Look them
probably
up
know them. They're good people.
I know
Hey,
I've heard
think
the
these
name.
people. Oopsie.
Well, that's about a third of your time. So
No,
hopefully you're
stop
about a
making
third
faces.
of the way done. Sorry about that. I didn't think you could see.
I love this. That was a great prompt. Thank you, person who made that prompt.
Probably not me then. Okay. It's less than half your time. Hopefully you're more than halfway done.
Is Marco a bit of a little louder?
Hmm.
We didn't sing that
Jesus
song.
H.
Perfect.
What did it
You're like,
I'm just right of you. Sorry.
first day with a microphone?
What is this? Hello? Hello?
And your time is pretty much up, so hopefully you did better than me.
Oh, no.
What on earth is this?
Probably objectively good art.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't. What is this? What even is this? What?
Oh wow, I can do that. No, I can't. How do you draw that?
Yes, somebody's totally gonna
Okay.
get this.
There's this thing. And I should probably have a handle.
Here is my teeth, butt, and here's my spout. Oopsie.
No, that's
Objectively bad singing.
Never. There's someone who'll find it good.
So it's subjective.
Mhm. What am I doing? Ah, shit. Yeah.
That's about half your time. Hopefully, you're about halfway done. If not, you know.
Oh, fuck. I just got like a
Alright.
migraine. A migraine
oh
feel.
no.
It's like my brain's like, hey. Calm your shit. Otherwise, we're doing this.
Yeah, I don't think I did good on this. I'm sorry, whoever gets this.
I think I did amazingly. And there will be consensus that it's true.
Oh, I fucked up.
You fix it. You got a sixth of your time.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Eh,
Fractions are hard.
what am I even doing with my life?
I don't know.
You're
Currently
playing a
hard.
game.
Hashtag mood.
Oh, you mother.
What am I looking at?
Can't spell consensus without con. No, I still do.
It's a pretty good shape, whoever did that.
What is this?
That's what that thing is called.
Oh, what?
What? Okay.
Yay! I can draw this.
I so know what I'm doing for this.
Hey! My computer's frozen. What's happening?
Oh
Oh, no.
Your computer got a migraine too.
Yeah.
That's objectively bad.
I'm waiting. I'm not going to exit the page.
Mhm.
But I'm the host. I can't exit the page.
This is not good news.
What?
Let's see what happens. I think it'll transfer to the next person if I exit. So let's see what happens. I'm sorry, guys. It's not even exiting. It can't even exit.
Ah.
Okay, I'm turning off the lights. I think it's the Pop-Tart that gave me a migraine.
Oh no.
That
Oh,
damn
no.
poison.
They're not good.
They're so good.
Hey, shit.
They're so mid. They're good.
Yeah, they're like
very mid.
5 pounds here.
They're
Really?
expensive.
They're
Yeah.
that big?
They're
because
not
they're
worth
imported.
that.
Yeah, they're not.
Sounds
They
weighty.
were like you could have 2
Yeah.
lunches on the price that I paid for that.
You get a box for like $2 at Walmart, that's about what they're worth.
They're worth a migraine, and now I have to use my pain meds, so it's going to cost
Yeah,
me even more.
Share.
It's normal paracetamol. It's not that interesting.
Nothing fun.
Well, you got not that much time remaining, but this is the final round, so take your time.
You're
You got
poisoning
about
us.
10 seconds.
The morphine, the better.
Ooh,
Hmm.
morphine.
I'm actually really glad that I don't have to do the last round because my computer bowed out. I get to spectate.
I was.
Look, Dorcas is the king
I
now.
was Gil
Yay.
Delilly
Okay, how do you usually do this, Kitty?
with your hands.
Yeah, beginning. Do voiceover. Press voiceover on.
Okay.
Okay. And
I think
then
you
stop.
gotta share the audio too, because
Oh yes, you've muted yourself there. Yeah.
I'm not sharing on the share though. Let me stop screen. Present.
Oh,
Share
you have no idea how badly I did. Don't worry. I'm here to make you feel better.
I guarantee
Okay.
mine is probably worse.
You actually, if you
Ditto.
do too well, if too many people do too well, it's not fun.
You saved $5 on fucking headgear from Best Buy? Giddy up.
Sweet.
$5. You know how many Pop Tarts you can get for that?
2.
Only the best. The cinnamon.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, Kitty.
Girl meets cousin onion.
oh.
Why soup?
Because
Because
my
they go into.
my onion looked like a, I don't know. Oh, that's pretty good, Greg.
French?
I don't know,
Right.
man.
French
Why is
onion
it-
soup with onion on the side.
Yay.
You
Like a
see, they
side
look
onion.
the same.
Translated.
They look the same.
It's pretty dope.
It kind of worked.
Unfrosted? Ooh.
If you have unfrosted, you were crazy.
Just call it cousin soup.
Frosted's the only thing I've had, so.
They also make one that's even less pleasant.
Pete moderates Sammy and Sally snail debate.
Dorcas.
Oh, that's what that is.
So cute.
Pete debates Sammy the snail.
Whoops a daisy.
Oh, I'm really
That's so
sorry.
good.
I was trying to
Pete
do
and
debate.
Over the snail.
Yeah,
No,
I see it's
debate.
debate,
Yeah,
not
I
a
fucked up.
goal now.
I'm
got
sorry.
it.
Oh,
My
it didn't
bad.
even get my D. I drew a D.
Wow. Wow. You couldn't even. What?
I mean, someone always does in this game.
Subjectively, I feel like you didn't try there.
My computer did it. I've never purchased a Pop Tart.
Objectively the
you've had
best
one.
film ever.
Better be strange, darling. Mm.
Oh,
I love that expert.
A film expert who made the best film on take 70.
Who's this it?
Hey, Charles is that
Right.
expert.
That's a wrap.
Charles needs 70 takes to wrap a film.
We want
So
to
true.
Kitty's D. Charles in charge.
What is in my hand?
Starring Charles takes.
It's a microphone.
supposed
It's
to
like
be
usual.
Yorick.
Oh, I just assumed he was talking into his microphone.
Or that. That's better.
Where he feels
Sorry,
most comfortable.
Rosales.
Oh, it's Rosales.
I do like that we all kept the
The
clasher
slate.
slate.
That's what
the
they're
slate.
called.
Great Poopit is an abstract piece of art.
Cupid.
Oh, that's
See?
awesome.
See, that's what made my
That's
first
badass.
piece
That
so
is really
easy.
cool.
AI great poop it.
Hey,
Yes.
Beer,
Pint.
pint,
Oh, I did draw myself. Well, this is abstract me.
ale.
It didn't look convincing on its own.
Yes, it does say poop it.
Dave Grohl as a duck.
Oh no.
Why?
Yours is
Question
more
mark?
Dave Grohl is objectively a duck now in a park.
Now in the park.
I love that.
Dave Grohl quacks the case of the spilt pain.
I was wondering if that was gonna.
But he
split.
quacked the case. Come on.
I have a
The
little
internet
less
is being
sexy
its
there.
Bears are objectively better than dogs.
I'm sorry about this.
Oopsie, I'm sorry. I didn't.
That's a dog. Fuck you, Gray.
Bear, thumbs up.
I
Lion,
apologize.
thumbs down.
Spent too much time with the bear. I'm
That's
sorry.
what I said.
Lion thumbs down.
Literally the same. What? What did
Simba,
that say?
thumbs down. I get it. Chicago.
Okay.
The Bears. Simba. No. I like it.
GG.
Perfect.
GG's,
Arms and legs,
everybody.
just like, yep.
Pop Tart. There you go. I was gonna get a strawberry one just because it was recognizable.
Yo,
but
cherry
then I was
frosted. That's where it's at.
Yeah. Here,
like,
here.
cherry. Okay, listen. There's not that much of a.
Better pink one. It tastes like medicine. It's great.
Yeah, here it's just strawberry and
Dr. Pepper tastes like medicine. I like that.
something else.
Oh, what?
The doctor
Yeah.
ordered.
It is medicinal. Dr. Pepper ordered it. It's great.
I think it's chocolate and strawberry here.
Right.
That's all
You
you
know,
get.
there's like 60 flavors in New York.
Yeah.
You can get like
There's three.
pumpkin
There's
pie.
three downstairs, and there's pork in it because it's in the non-Muslim section.
Oh no. Darling showed up just after we finished the
Oh
art. drop.
no!
Most important portion.
Same thing
So-
with Rosales. We
And
screwed up.
Rosales.
Oh,
I'm
Next
sorry,
time.
guys. I would let us go, or I'd push us for another round, but I need to actually. Who was that?
Wow.
Was it you, Charles?
Gray. Look, he's eating.
That was not well, okay. It's hard to deny it at this point, but I'm telling you, it was not me.
Objectively, it was Gray.
Everything
Aw,
points
man.
to me, but it was not me.
That's
Objectively, it looks
sort
like
of- Excuse you, Gray.
That was me.
I love this. Okay. Objectively, the mustard. I think everyone's giddy, and I need to go close my eyes with some paracetamol stuffed in.
Oh, is it
Well,
too
what's
late
everyone
for you?
doing? It's it's so late. What's it? It's like 8:30 there.
7:30.
7:30.
I don't even know what night is anymore.
What is night? Yeah. Well, okay. Who wants to go first? What's happening on your guys' channels? Fight for it.
No one asked
yeah,
you
nothing on mine
podcast.
soon. Yay!
Yeah, you say
Dorcas
do it.
beat me. Go Dorcas.
Brandon Sanderson stuff. Maybe a weekly stream about what I'm reading. I don't
In
know.
the
we'll
bag.
see. In the bag.
Mhm. I actually had to stop listening to it, Dorcas, because you were talking beyond what I've read in Dune. So I was like, okay, well, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh no.
Yeah. So guys, go to the No One Asked You podcast for that. Charles, what's happening with you? And I suppose we're going to join your Discord so we can look at disturbing videos.
That's the only reason you're joining my Discord. Thanks. I don't know. I have a big project I've got to start studying for. I don't know. I can't give you any sort of definitive anything. Oh, I have twins in my belly. I
What?
was at the doctor on Monday. I have two growths.
Sisters?
Apparently,
Really?
one is 4 centimeters and one is smaller.
Oh no.
Okay.
So
With
twins.
But they're close together, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't complicate it even more that you have to go
Right.
looking for others.
It's a surgery that they don't want to do. So It could be 50. They don't want to do it.
Yeah, but it's necessary.
Did you have a warranty on the first one? Just out of curiosity.
It won't be lonely in its jar now. But when are you going in for that, Charles?
Not soon enough, apparently. I don't know. It's not very encouraging news, but it's not the big C. So
yes, as long as that's it. Yeah.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Rosales' video library is filled with twins. Thank you, Rosales. I don't understand that fascination, but okay. Whatever you guys need.
The thing you have, but now two.
Charles is
what?
Charles is your fund. What's it? Your GoFundMe thing. Your thing. It's still up, right? So I can still share this link. Okay. Please go and donate to Charles if you haven't already. You could be the person who
I guess
names these sisters.
We can have another name. I mean,
Yeah.
The smaller
the one that comes second. Yeah.
Twins should be named separately. I mean, come on.
Well,
you don't share a name. I mean,
yeah.
Michael and Michael B. Michael desist.
Cease and desist with all of this, guys. We are.
Oh, just name cease and desist.
That works. That works. Gray, are you guys
cease as in function? Because that's what my gallbladder is. Just ceased.
The gall of that bladder. That was my first pun when you said that. Gray, what are you doing?
Good question. So I was gonna launch a show on 420, and then life decided to happen. So I have not got all of the background stuff done that I need to. So that's gonna be moved off to May. But real soon, gonna be launching a new show. Other than that, you can catch me around the internet. I am on the internet most days. So if you try hard enough, you can probably find me. But good times. What are you up to, Katie?
I am going to continue with my diagram of the Douglas Murray, Dave Smith debate that was on Joe Rogan. That's going to happen a little bit later today. We're going to continue. It's a slog, so we have to continue the slog. All I'm promising is 40 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to get to the more contentious. I've been told that I have to get to the end, but I'm like, yeah, okay. It'll take a very long time to get there, and by then people will have lost interest. That is a very difficult thing with taking such a long time and going through things so meticulously. But yeah, figuring it out. Come and hang out. That the thing is, I'm hanging out with people as I do this, and they give their opinions and they inform the diagram. So I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, yesterday was quite great. So won't mind doing that again.
But unsavory people are doing YouTube drama as of this week as well.
Oh, what are they doing?
I don't know. Just apparently everyone that's unsavory is in some sort of spat right now between Haas and Ethan Klein and
oh yes,
what's
I
his
saw
face?
that.
Content cop. iDubbbz.
iDubbbz. Well, what's happened? Yeah. I actually saw Ethan. I saw something where somebody said Ethan lost or Ethan won, and then there was Jordan Peterson with it. So that's what I saw.
Yeah,
but like, listen, one debate at a time. I need to finish things.
The lore is just like, I don't know who to root for in these cases. Where it's just like, yeah, they all suck. Like, yay, society.
Thanks. Yeah. That's a great time. I'll look into it. No, not really. When it comes to Ethan Klein, I'm not
on it. Figure out.
I've already catered to sensationalism by doing this debate. In any case,
who is the moral near center?
In what?
Yes.
In which debate?
All of it.
In all of it, guys. Just a reminder then. Think of the things you want to argue with each other about. Okay.
Vagina. Oh,
penis. Vagina.
Walked right into it.
That is an Oscar-winning, well, nominated song.
Anyone want to do a face
Objectively.
grade? You want to show your face before we do the outro?
Uh,
Everybody have a nice life.
nah. Yeah.
We'll see you next week. I'll see you guys later because you're going to come and watch me diagram.
Just hurry up.